Hey everybody and welcome. Today I am going to present you with a very slow hand-holding tutorial on how to play the Gaia Project. The Gaia Project is a spiritual successor to the game Terra Mystica, and this tutorial is going to be aimed at people who have never played Terra Mystica, or maybe they watched a couple videos, don't know a lot about the Gaia Project, or maybe you've watched a couple videos, but you really want somebody to hold your hand and walk you through this game and the rules pretty slowly. And that's what I'm planning to do today. I never played Terra Mystica myself. I watched a couple videos several years ago. Coming into the Gaia Project, I was a little nervous about it. Because I was afraid it was going to be overly complicated, even though I like complicated games. I'm a big fan of games like Lisboa and Madeira and so forth. Why I was shy about the Gaia Project, I don't know. But once I got through the rule book and mastered the rules, it wasn't really as bad as I thought. Now, as you can see, right off the bat, I am not going to be presenting you with this tutorial using the gaming pieces. If you've watched any of my videos before, you know that I like programming games. I own the game, and I actually played it last night, for example, with my gaming group. But when I'm playing on my own, especially when I'm playing solo, which is a nice thing about the Gaia Project because it does offer a solo option, which happens to be a terrific solo option. It's much easier for me to play off the bat using my computer, and I enjoy writing these programs. I enjoy testing them, making sure that they work the way they're supposed to, and certainly for purposes of a tutorial or demonstrating a play of the game, it's much easier for me to do that on my computer than it is for me to be moving my camera all around, aiming at all sorts of pieces on the board. It's a little bit distracting that way. I find it much simpler to do it this way, and hopefully you will as well. Now, this screen may look a little overwhelming, but don't worry about it. We're going to go through it step by step, and by the time I'm finished, you're going to understand what all the pieces, what you're all looking at, and what it's supposed to mean. Okay, the Gaia Project, at its heart, is a resource management game. You're managing resources, managing your income so that you can expand in space, so that you can get more resources, hopefully, so that you can continue your expansion and backwards and forwards and so forth, just like that. You want to keep track of your income. Are you getting the income you need to expand in the way you want to expand? And then when you expand, is your income going to be exactly what you want it to be so you can continue with your plans, with your strategy? There are 5 resources in the game, and we're going to go through them one by one. First of all, there's money and ore. Those are the 2 bread and butter resources in the game. Those are the 2 resources you use virtually all the time to build structures, to build stuff on planets in space here. Credits, or money, is reflected in the game by yellow discs. You see this? Let me go to a large view. It might be easier to see. Okay, so these yellow discs represent credits or money, and I may use the term interchangeably. The white squares, like these, and all these down here, represent ore. Again, you use money and ore in order to build structures on planets. And most of the time, when you build a structure on a planet, you own that planet, and nobody else can co-occupy it with you. It's yours. If somebody else wants to build, they have to build elsewhere. There are minor exceptions in some cases, but I'm not going to cover some of the edge cases, and you can find out more about those once you learn the game and you start exploring some of the more advanced factions in this game. Okay, so that covers credits or money and ore. As you can see, there are buildings that are down here on your player board. There are buildings here on your player board. They would each occupy these rectangles that you see. There are 3 buildings over here that occupy these spaces and so forth. And the costs for building or upgrading to these structures is shown on the side. So, for example, the most basic structure in the game is a mine, which occupy these 8 spaces down here. And the cost to build a mine is 2 money, 2 credits, and 1 ore. There's also a resource in the game called a QIC. That's represented by this green cube-like thing that you see up here in the top right-hand corner where I'm pointing. Or over here, here's another example of that green cube. QICs, and you might find that in the game I might refer to them as QICs. By the way, what does QIC stand for and what does it mean? QIC stands for Quantum Intelligence Cube. That's science fiction mumbo-jumbo. We don't need to know why it's called that, where it got its name. All we care about is that it's a green cube, and I call it a QIC, or you can call it a QIC. QICs are used in most of the time either to extend your range, and I'll talk more about range and extending your range later on when it's more apropos. And it's also used to make certain kinds of planets habitable. All of that will come later. For now, all you need to know that QICs, or green cubes, exist as a resource. They're harder to come by than money and ore. They're relatively rare, but they are valuable if you happen to have them in your possession. And they're used for very specialized purposes. The 4th resource is knowledge. That's represented by light blue discs, like these that I'm pointing to here. They're actually not discs. I guess they're more like octagons. Knowledge as a resource is used to advance in research and technology, to improve your races or your factions' technology or your knowledge or what you know, so that it benefits your culture and improves your ability to take actions on the map. We'll explore all that research and technology a little bit later on. But for now, know that knowledge is tied to research and technology. Lastly, there is power. Power is reflected in these 3 areas up here, labeled 1, Area 2, and Area 3. Now, this particular faction starts with 2 power tokens in Area 1 and 4 power tokens in Area 2. And there are lots of different things you can do with power, but the 2 most important things you'll do with power is spend it or charge it. Let's say, for an example, we had to charge 3 power, and we're starting with 2 power in Area 1 and 4 power in Area 2. That 3 power we're going to charge, we have to look in our lowest numbered area, see if there's anything there, and if there is, move it to the next higher area. So to charge that 3 power, we first go to Area 1 and see if we have any power there. And we do. We have 2. Okay, so let's move those 2 from Area 1 to Area 2. We've only moved 2 tokens, and I said, in this example, we're charging 3 power. Okay, we have to charge that 3rd power. There's nothing anymore in Area 1, but we have 6 tokens in Area 2, so we take 1 of them and move them from Area 2 into Area 3. And now we've charged 3 power. So anytime you're charging power, you look first for power in the lowest numbered area, Area 1. If there's any there, you charge what you can, and then if you have anything left over to charge, you then move into Area 2 and move whatever is in Area 2 to area 3. Let's say, for example, I had an ability to charge 3 power, but I had 0 tokens in area 1 and I had 1 token in area 2. Well, at most, I could only charge 1 power. So I don't get the benefit of charging 3. I can only charge 1, and I do that by simply moving the only token I have in area 2 and moving it into area 3. So that's how charging power works, and you'll see that more in action once I play a sample game, which is going to be following this tutorial. Power is used also for lots of different things, very special purposes. When it's time to spend power in order to use it for some specific purpose, you have to take power out of area 3 and move it into area 1. That's how you spend power. So you don't get to spend power until you have some tokens over here in area 3. The trouble is that once you move a lot of your tokens out of area 3 into area 1 by spending them, you may have very few tokens left in area 3, and then you won't be able to get any more into area 3 until you empty out area 1 and charge those into area 2, and then charge what you have in area 2 into area 3. So oftentimes it's not in your best interest to spend power out of area 3 until you have most of your tokens moved into area 3. Otherwise, you're just going to be spending a little power and then charging until you have some more tokens in area 3 that you can spend again. There are also going to be a couple other kinds of cases. You might be instructed to discard tokens, and that means removing them from your player board, from your faction board. Normally, when you want to discard tokens, you can discard them from any area 1, 2, or 3, and when you do want to discard them, you want to probably discard them out of area 1 first, because those are the hardest tokens to work with, because they need to be able to get charged to get to area 2, and then charged again to get to area 3. So discarding tokens usually means get them out of area 1 first, then if you still need to discard some more, get them out of area 2. In other cases, you may be able to add tokens or gain tokens. When you add or gain tokens, those immediately go into area 1. Lastly, you might see situations where it says move tokens from one area to a different area. Specifically, it may say move tokens from areas 1, 2, or 3 into this special green area over here. That works similarly to discarding tokens, except that you're not losing them permanently. But when you're moving tokens from areas 1, 2, and 3, say, into that green area over there, you're choosing which areas you want to pull the tokens out of, and then moving them out of those areas and into the green area. So like discarding, usually when you want to move power tokens, you want to move them out of area 1 first into the green area, for example, and then move them out of area 2, if necessary, into the green area. You want to keep most of your tokens in areas 2 and 3 where, again, they're going to be more valuable to you. The beginning of any round in the game starts with an income phase. And income in this game is identified by this upward-facing hand icon. You see this hand here, or there's a hand here, or a hands down here. They're all over the place, especially on your player board. But you might find these hand icons on other things as well that we'll see. When it's time to go through the income phase, you're going to look for all the hands that are not covered up and gain those resources, and then you'll have some resources to work with when it's time to take some actions. Let's take a look at what all these structures are, where they live on your player board, and how you build them. Let's start with mines. Mines are the most basic structure in the game. You start the game with 8 mines, and they occupy these 8 rectangles down here on your player board at the bottom row. You can see that the mines are covering all these income spaces, but one income icon is not covered, this one over here. So that means that you're automatically going to receive income of 1 ore regardless of how many mines you've removed from your player board to place on the map. That's how you earn most of your ore. It's going to come from how many mines you've played, how many of these spaces are empty, and how many hand icons you see underneath this ore icon. When you remove mines from your player board, and when you remove most structures from your player board, you're removing them left to right. When it's time to place a mine, you're taking the leftmost mine from your row of mines, removing it, and placing it somewhere on the map. They're leaving your player board left to right, but they're returning to your player board right to left. Last in, first out, that sort of thing. Mines are the basic structure, and for the most part, they produce ore during the income phase. As you'll soon find out, before the game even begins, every player gets to just place 2 mines. So in the case of this particular faction, right after that initial setup phase, where they've already placed 2 of their mines, they're only going to have 6 left, occupying these 6 spaces. Right off the bat, their income for ore, at least, is going to be 3 ore. 1 here that we can see, and 1 here. The next type of structure, which is the upgrade from a mine, is called a trading station. Trading stations, in most cases, generate credits or money for you. You don't start the game with any trading stations on the board. All of those trading stations are on your faction board, covering up these rectangles. Now, this particular faction lets you earn as income 3 credits, even if you have all of these other spaces covered up by trading stations. Every faction board has its idiosyncrasies and peculiarities, and that's one of the nice little benefits of having this particular faction. The fact that you're always going to get this base level of 3 credit income. When you do upgrade a mine to a trading station, you're taking a mine off the map, bringing it back to your faction board, covering up one of these spaces, thus possibly reducing your ore income, but then you're replacing it on the map with your leftmost trading station, which later on might produce more money income for you. So you're juggling the income of ore and the income of money on an ongoing basis like that. Now, trading stations, once you have those, they can be upgraded in one of 2 directions. They can be upgraded this way to a unit that's called your Planetary Institute. You only have one of those. When you build your Planetary Institute in a very similar faction, you're removing the trading station from the map, bringing it back to your faction board, covering up the rightmost empty space, and then taking your Planetary Institute, taking it from your faction board and putting it on the map. Now, the nice thing about most factions is that they have a special ability. Not all factions have a special ability. The Hod-Shalas, this particular faction that we're looking at, does not have a special ability, but it does have a Planetary Institute special ability. All factions do have a special ability associated with their Planetary Institute. Once you build that Planetary Institute, that's when that ability kicks in. Now, once we, again, talk about specific examples, we'll look at what the special abilities are. But suffice it to say, at this point, that all you really need to know is that there might be a special ability associated with a faction that you can use right off the bat. But whether or not you have one of those, you'll always have a special ability that kicks in only after you get your Planetary Institute off your faction board and onto the map. As you can see, there's no other upgrade path for the Planetary Institute, so once that's placed on the map, it's not going anywhere unless there's some sort of rule-breaking mechanism that allows you to move it or do something with it. And again, that's always a possibility with some of the more advanced factions. But in 99% of the cases, once you place that Planetary Institute, it's on the map for good, and it's going to stay where it is. However, as you can see, trading stations can also be moved this way, can be advanced in this direction, left to right. These are called research labs. You have 3 of those at the start of the game. They occupy these 3 spaces on your faction board. As you can see, in the case of the Had-Shalas faction, even with all 3 of these research labs in place, the Had-Shalas is going to earn 1 knowledge as income, barring any other form of knowledge income coming from anywhere else. So when you're upgrading from a training station to a research lab, similarly, you take the trading station off the map, you return it to the rightmost empty space of your trading station area, you take the leftmost research lab, remove it from your player board, place it on the map. And by doing so, you're going to reduce your money income, because now you're covering up a space with a trading station, but you're going to increase your knowledge income, which might help you later on when it comes time to advance in research and technology. The last upgrade possibility is to upgrade from a research lab to an academy. You have 2 academies. They cover up these 2 spots, and usually these 2 spots provide you with 2 relatively different kinds of abilities. For example, this spot lets me gain 2 knowledge during the income phase. This spot lets me do something else, suffice it to say, at this point in time. Academies are the one exception when it comes to removing them from your faction board. When it's time to upgrade from a research lab to an academy, you're going to, again, remove the research lab from the player board, from the map, bring it back to your player board. But then when it's time to take an academy and move it to the map, you get to choose which of your 2 academies you want to move. So this is the exception of the case. You don't have to remove this one before you remove this one. You get to choose which academy you want to remove. Now, the cost of building or upgrading these structures is shown on the left-hand side of the particular row that's occupied by those structures. So, for example, to build a mine, we have to pay 2 money and 1 ore. To build a trading station, it's a little trickier. Trading stations want to be able to trade with other opposing players in the game. So if you're upgrading a mine to a trading station in a space on the map that is within 2 spaces of another player in the game, then you get to pay only 3 credits and 2 ore to upgrade that mine to a trading station. However, if your mine that you're upgrading to a trading station is sort of isolated off by itself someplace and is not within 2 spaces of an opposing player structure, then you're going to be stuck having to pay the more expensive price. You're going to have to pay 6 credits and 2 ore. To upgrade from a trading station to a Planetary Institute, you're going to have to pay 6 credits and 4 ore. Similarly, upgrading from a trading station to a research lab, you're paying 5 money and 3 ore. And to get from a research lab to an academy, you're paying 6 money and 6 ore. And of course, all of these are aggregate costs. So to get from a mine to a trading station to a Planetary Institute, assuming you had to build and upgrade all those structures, you're paying over time a total of maybe 2 plus 3 if that mine that you're upgrading is within 2 spaces of an opposing player structure, 2 plus 3 plus 6, or 11 money, and a total of 1 plus 2 plus 4, 7 ore. So you got to first build the mine, Then you have to upgrade it and build a trading station. Then you have to upgrade that, say, to build a Planetary Institute, and you're paying more and more money and more ore over time to be able to do that. Now, there's a special benefit that you get anytime you build or upgrade, I should say, a trading station into a research lab, or anytime you upgrade a research lab to an academy. So anytime you build one of these 5 structures and get it on the map, you get a special ability. And that special ability involves your ability to take what's called a tech tile. It's a sort of another way to improve your culture or your faction's technology. So let's take a look at the research board where all these tech tiles exist. So let's close that and come over to here to the research board. Here are what are called the standard tech tiles. So when you build a research lab or you build an academy, you get to take possibly one of these standard tech tiles. There are more advanced tech tiles up here. These have a blue background, as you can see. They're a little bit smaller than the standard tech tiles, but they're harder to get. So for the time being, I'm going to talk about just the standard tech tiles down here. There happen to be 4 of each of them, and you can never have more than 1 tech tile of the same type. So the truth of the matter is, in a 2-player game, you only need 2 of each type of tech tile. There are 9 different types, as you can see here, and you'll normally have a stack of 2 of them each for a 2-player game, a stack of 3 of them for a 3-player game, and a stack of 4 of them for a 4-player game. Because, once again, once you take a specific kind of standard tech tile, you can't take another one of that same type. Now, all 9 different types of standard tech tiles are placed randomly on this research board. So this arrangement of tech tiles isn't necessarily going to be the same in every game you play. This one, for example, might be over here, and this one might be randomly placed over here. When you do take a standard tech tile as your bonus for building one of these 5 structures over here, you get to choose which one you want. Again, it can't be one you already own. If you choose one from this row, then you automatically advance 1 level in the track above that tech tile. There are 6 tracks here. These are your research and technology tracks that allow you to improve in various areas of the game. Generally speaking, everybody starts at level 0, but every faction might be a little different. You can see in this example that the red faction was able to start in level 1 of this particular track, and as a result, they got some additional income, as you can see by these icons here with the hands underneath them. If I decided to take this tech tile, I would remove it, put it in my player area, and then I would automatically advance 1 level in this research track. If I, say, took this tech tile, which immediately allows me to score points, then I would advance 1 level in this track automatically after taking the tech tile. If, however, I take one of the lower 3 tech tiles, then I get to choose which track I want to advance in. It's sort of like a wild track tech tile. You might think of it that way. So say I take this tech tile, which is going to improve my money income by 4. I can then choose which track I want to advance 1 level in. I did refer to these advanced tech tiles up here. I did say they're more complicated to come by, and I will say at this point in time that to get one of these advanced tech tiles, you get to choose one when you build one of these structures, for example, if you meet certain conditions. The conditions you have to meet are, 1, you have to be on level 4 or level 5 of the track from which you want to take the advanced tech tile. So if I like the look, say, of this one, whatever it means. You can see the little tip that's popping up telling you what it means. But if I wanted to take that advanced tech tile, I would have to have my player piece occupy level 4 or level 5 of this specific track. When I take the advanced tech tile, it actually covers up one of my existing standard tech tiles. You can't take an advanced tech tile unless you have a standard tech tile that doesn't have anything else on it at the moment. Let's say I took this one earlier in the game. I got to choose which track I wanted to advance in. And later on, little by little, I got my player piece up to level 4. And if I met one other condition, I'd be able to take this tech tile, for example, cover up this one over in my player area, and now I no longer would be receiving 4 additional income because it's covered up. It would now be replaced by this particular advanced tech tile with its particular special ability that it provides. Covering up a standard tech tile with an advanced tech tile doesn't mean, however, that it overrides the rule that says you can only have one of each standard tech tile. Even if this one's covered by an advanced tech tile or it's not covered, you can never take another one tech tile just like this one. There is one other obligation you have to meet in order to take an advanced tech tile. That is, you have to have what's called a Federation token on its green side. And that's all I'm going to say about that at the moment. I'm not going to explain what Federation tokens are yet. I'll explain what those are a little bit later on. For the moment, just know that to get an advanced tech tile, you have to have a standard tech tile that's not covered up. You have to be on level 4 or level 5 of a specific track. And then you have to have a Federation token green side up in your player area. If you meet all those conditions, great. You flip over that Federation token, so it's no longer green side up. Now it's going to be gray side up. You then take the advanced tech tile from that particular column where you're at level 4 or level 5. You cover up one of your standard tech tiles that is not currently covered up. And then lastly, you get to advance in a track. This is a little bit confusing to some people because they think, oh, well, I took this advanced tech tile. That must mean I have to advance one level on this track. No, I have to be at level 4 or 5 to be able to take this advanced tech tile. But once I take it, I could then advance one level on any track. So these are a little bit like these wild standard tech tiles down here that allow you to advance a level on any track, any of the 6 tracks. Now, as long as we're talking about the tracks, I'll just briefly mention what each one is intended to cover and what its purpose is. This first track is called the Terraforming track. Now, we'll see soon enough what it means to terraform, but for now, terraforming has an inherent cost to it, and everybody starts out with a terraforming cost that's indicated here. It's a little hard to read because it's on the seam of the board, but it's 3 ore per terraforming step. Once you advance your token to level 1, you're still going to be at 3 ore per terraforming step, but you're going to gain 2 ore and add it to your supply of ore immediately. Anytime you see an icon that has this sort of white border and this white star-like thing in the bottom left-hand corner, that means that's something you get right off the bat as soon as you did whatever you had to do in order to get that resource. So advancing from level 0 to level 1 in the terraforming track doesn't improve your terraforming cost, but it does let you immediately gain 2 ore. Once you move from level 1 to level 2 of the terraforming track, now your terraforming cost has been reduced from 3 to 2. when you advance from level 2 to level 3 of the terraforming track, truth is, when you advance from level 2 to level 3 of any track, you get to charge 3 power, as indicated by this icon. And then once I get myself into area 3 of the terraforming track, now my terraforming cost is only 1 ore. When I move into level 4 of the terraforming track, my terraforming cost is still 1 ore, but like this level down here, I immediately gain 2 ore. And if I meet the conditions necessary for me to move into level 5, which is the top level of this track, and of course level 5 is the top level of any of these tracks, then I can advance my token from level 4 to level 5. You do have to meet a certain condition, 2 conditions actually, to move from level 4 to level 5. The first condition is you have to have a Federation token, green side up. The same condition you had to meet in order to take an advanced tech tile. So if you want to be able to get from here to here, and also at some other time take the advanced tech tile, you have to have 2 Federation tokens available to you, green side up, that you can then flip. The other condition you have to meet in order to move to level 5 is that no other player can be in level 5. Only one player in every track can reach level 5 of that track. Once a player does, the best any other player can do is get to level 4. That's a summary of the terraforming track. As I said, we'll talk more about terraforming cost and what that means soon enough. This track is called the navigation track, and it's basically used to control what your range is in the game. How far away from one of your existing structures you can do something else in the game, like, say, build a mine. Everybody starts out with a basic range of 1. When you advance to level 1 of this track, your range doesn't improve, but you do get to gain 1 QIC. And you might remember that I said one of the abilities of having a QIC is that you can spend it to temporarily increase your range. So this is kind of giving you a one-time opportunity to use this QIC to extend your range, but it's temporary. You use it, you spend it, and now you don't have it anymore. But once you move from level 1 to level 2 of this track, now your range has been expanded to 2 spaces away. When you move from level 2 to level 3, you get to charge 3 power. You get another QIC, just like you did down here, but your range is still 2. When you get to level 4, your range now is at range 3, so you can move up to, you can build up to 3 spaces away from one of your existing structures. And if you're able to get yourself all the way up, there's something else here called the Lost Planet I'm not going to talk about right now, but you can see you can get your range up to its maximum of 4. And you can still spend QICs, if you have any, to extend that range. We'll take a look at range and how you use it soon enough. This track is called the Artificial Intelligence track. It's mostly used, as you can see, to gain QICs. And in this particular sample game, the yellow faction started off the game by being at level 1 of this track. So they immediately started the game with an extra QIC. If they advance to level 2, they're going to get another QIC. If they advance in this track to level 3, they're not only going to be able to charge 3 power, they'll get 2 more QICs. And then another 2 QICs at level 4. And if they can make it all the way up to level 5, they'll get 4 QICs. Remember, I said QICs are rare. If you want them to be less rare, this is the track to get yourself moving up on. This track is called the Gaia Project track, or some people call it the Gaiaforming track. I'm not going to go into much detail about it right now. I will cover it a little bit later on. It's a little more complicated. We'll hold off on that for the moment. This track is called the economy track. Mostly it's there to improve your economy, your income, because you can see all the various benefits you get here are for the most part income related. If you advance to level 2, and you can see the red faction got to start at, if you advance to level 1 from level 0, the red faction here got to start at the beginning of the game at this particular level on this track, and you can see they're going to gain an additional 2 credits during the income phase, and they're also going to be able to charge 1 power during the income phase. If they make their way up to level 2, this no longer applies. Now their income has been increased in ore by 1, in credits by 2, and charging power by 2. If they go from level 2 to level 3, they charge 3 power immediately because of this little benefit, and now their ore income is 1, their money income is 3, added, I should say incrementally added to 3, and they can also charge an additional 3 power, and so forth and so on. And then lastly, this track is the science track, mostly having to do with knowledge. If you get to level 1, you get 1 more knowledge during the income phase. If you get to level 2, you get 2 more knowledge during the income phase. If you move to level 3, you get to charge 3 power, and you get 3 more knowledge during the income phase, and so forth. If you make it all the way up to level 5, you immediately get 9 knowledge, but you don't get any more knowledge during the income phase. So there's pros and cons to doing all these different things. Similarly, in this track, no more do you get incremental income on these different kinds of resources. These are immediately gained when you get to level 5. You don't have that hand icon anymore, so you're not getting that income any longer either. Okay, so that was a lot of time I spent on the research track, but now you know, I'm telling you, you know most of the game. But now we have to talk about what your actions are, because every round, there are 6 rounds in the game, and every round consists first of an income phase, during which you figure out how much income you get, and then you do what's called the Gaia phase, and that you don't do most of the time. I'm going to sort of skip over that right now. But the third phase is the most important phase, and that's where every player takes turns performing one action. The starting player, who's chosen randomly, takes an action, and then the second player after them in clockwise order takes an action, and you go all the way around and around and around until everybody has passed at some point or another, and once everybody passes, you do some cleanup and you move on to the next round. Before we talk about what the actions are, let's take a look at how an income phase actually works. We'll just take a look at this Had-Shalas faction. Now, what we don't see here, because I'm cutting off the top edge of the board, the top edge of the player board actually is a track where you move tokens around showing how much money you have, how much ore you have, and how much knowledge you have. QICs are actually green tokens that you accrue, and you actually put those to the side of your player board. Power, as you already know, is stuff that you move around up here in these 3 areas. But you track your money and your ore and your knowledge by moving tokens around on a track. And that track also shows you what your starting income is, your starting money is, and your starting ore, and your starting knowledge. So we're in the first round of the game, and the starting credits for this particular faction were 15. Starting ore was 4. Starting knowledge was 3, and they actually got to start with 1 QIC. And as we already saw, they started with, well, you can't see it now because I'm covering up with my boxes, but they started with 2 power tokens in Area 1 and 4 power tokens in Area 2. Now, as you can see, they no longer have 15 credits, they no longer have 4 ore, no longer have 3 knowledge, and so forth. How did they get all that credits and ore and that knowledge? Well, they got it because of the income phase. So how did they increase their credits from their starting credits of 15 to the 20 credits they have now? Well, 3 of those came from this icon here. Remember, this particular faction gets to get 3 money income as part of their basic income from their faction board. So they automatically get 3 credits every income phase of every round. There's also something called a round booster that players get to choose at the beginning of every round. And a round booster is just that. It boosts your income or it gives you some other little abilities that you can use to score points possibly, whatever the case may be. In this particular example, this was the round booster I chose for this Had-Shalas faction, and it gave them 1 additional ore as income and 1 additional knowledge as income. We still haven't accounted for the other 2 credits they got. They started at 15, then they got these 3 and went to 18. But there are 2 other places you have to check for income. Tactiles, which nobody owns at the beginning of the game, and the research board. These 2 tracks both provide additional resources during the income phase. None of these do, but tracks 5 and 6 do. And you can see that part of the Had-Shalas' special benefit was they got to start at level 1 of this track, and that produced for them 2 additional money income. So this 2 plus this 3 got them from their starting credits of 15 to 20. And that's why they get to start round 1 with 20 credits. In a similar way, they started with 4 ore. At the beginning of the game, they got to move or place 2 of their mines on the board. We'll talk more about that later, but that's just initial placement. So they got 1 ore here, another ore here, another ore here. That got them from 4 to 7. And they got their last ore to get them to 8 from their round booster. Knowledge. Their knowledge started at 3. Okay, where did they get that extra knowledge? Well, 1 extra knowledge came here, got it from 3 to 4, and 1 came from their round booster, which got them from 4 to 5. And they got 1 QIC to start with, because that's one of the abilities of their faction. If you look up in your faction board, it tells you what tracks you start off on level 1, if any, and whether or not you get to get a QIC. So if you see a green QIC in this corner of your faction board right here, it means that you get to start with 1 QIC. And this indicates that this particular faction gets to start at level 1 of the track that has the handshaking icon on it. That's this track here, the economy track. As you can see, the red faction starts off the game on level 1, giving them some additional income. And notice that part of their income from being on level 1 of this track was that they got to charge 1 power. They started off with 2 power in Area 1 and 4 power in Area 2, but when they got to charge that 1 power, they moved 1 from Area 1 and moved it up into Area 2. So now the 2 that was in Area 1 has been reduced to 1, and the 4 that started off in Area 2 has been increased to 5. Okay, so that's a sample income phase. We could look at the other faction and do something similarly. You can see that they start off with far less money. They started off with 15 credits. They got 2 additional credits during the income phase here from their round booster to get them to 17. They started off with 4 ore. They got 3 additional ore right here that got them to 7. They started off with 3 knowledge. They got 1 additional knowledge from this icon over here that got them to 4 knowledge. Wow, they started off with 3 QICs. How did they get 3? Well, they started off with 1 because of this icon. Then this ability allowed them to advance on this track by 1 level. That's how they got their second QIC. They got their third QIC from their round booster right here. Wow, that's a lot of QICs to be able to start with. Okay, last but not least, let's talk about what the various actions are that you can take in this game. So let me close the research track at the moment. And remember I said at the beginning of the game, everybody gets to place 2 of their mines on the board on what are called their home planets. Their home planets are colored just like their faction board. So the Had-Shalas placed their 2 starting mines on this planet. It's a red planet. And this planet down here, a red planet. This actually happens to be what's called the easy setup for a game. If you look in the rules for a 2-player game, it says if you want to do the easy setup, arrange these tiles, these sector tiles in this fashion. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, 6, 7, which happen to be double-sided, so you want to have them with the outline side face up in this arrangement. And it also says in the rules that for your first game, have the one player play the Had-Shalas, have the other player play the Xenos faction, because those factions happen to be relatively easier to play with as opposed to some of the more advanced factions. And then there were some round boosters. You start with 1 round booster for every player in the game. You add 3 more. So you're going to start off with 5 round boosters in the game, and then everybody in reverse player order gets to choose one of those 5 round boosters that they want to start with. Everybody gets to choose a round booster, and they return that round booster later on when they pass, and they choose a different round booster for the next round of the game. Okay, what's the first kind of action you can take? The first kind of action you can take is to build a mine. You build a mine by taking the leftmost mine from your player board and moving it to a planet that's within your range on the map, a planet that you can occupy. You've got to meet a certain number of conditions. To build a mine, you've got to build it on a planet that is within your range. Now, right now, if you remember, everybody's range starts out at range 1. That's 1 space away, adjacency, essentially. So in the case of red, their range 1 allows them to build on this planet or to build on this planet, all other things being equal. Now, this particular faction can live very happily on red planets, because red planets are very suited to their species. However, to live on a different kind of planet, they have to terraform it. Oh, remember when we were talking about the terraforming track? There's actually 7 colors, 7 colored planets in this game. There's, in addition to that, there are some other colors. But there are 7 basic colors, and every particular race has a certain number of terraforming steps they have to take in order to terraform a specific colored planet to make it so that they can live on that planet. In the case of the Had-Shalas, on their faction board, we can see that in order to build on a blue planet or on an orange planet, they have to be able to pay for 1 terraforming step. If they wanted to build on a white or a yellow planet, they have to pay for 2 terraforming steps. And to pay for a black or a brown planet, they have to pay 3 terraforming steps. If you recall, the terraforming cost for everybody started off at 3 ore per terraforming step. So in order to build on either of these planets, the red faction would have to terraform. The cost to terraform this planet, orange, is only 1 step, so that's 3 ore. If they wanted to build on this gray planet, that's a lot harder. That's 3 terraforming steps, and that is a total of 9 ore that they'd have to pay, in addition to what they'd have to pay to build the mine to begin with. To make it easier for my program, I also show the terraforming steps over here on the far left-hand side. So you can see it doesn't cost anything special to build on a red planet for me, because I'm playing the red faction. But if I wanted to build on an orange or a blue planet, I'd have to pay 3 ore for that first terraforming step. If I wanted to build on a white or a yellow planet, I'd have to pay 6 extra ore, 3 ore for 2 terraforming steps each. And finally, if I wanted to build on a gray or a brown planet, I'd have to pay for 3 terraforming steps, a total of 9 ore. You remember that I said that your range is dictated by your research board, so everybody starts off with a range of 1 space, but you can always pay a QIC to extend your range by 2 extra spaces. This particular faction has a QIC, so if they wanted to spend it, their range could be as many as 3 spaces. So, for example, if the red player wanted to build a mine all the way over here on this red planet, they'd have to pay 1 extra QIC to do that, because their basic range is 1 space, and that paying that QIC gives them 2 extra spaces of range, and that would get them all the way over to this red planet. There's no additional terraforming cost, so they just have to then pay for the cost of the mine. So let's take a look at that example. They would take a mine, their leftmost mine. Remember, they're going to have to pay 2 credits and 1 ore for that mine, in addition to any other costs. And then if they place that mine all the way over here on this red planet, okay, my program reminds me it's going to cost me 2 credits and 1 ore for the mine, and 1 QIC to extend my range by 2 extra spaces in order to build that mine on that red planet. Okay to proceed? Okay. I pay 2 credits, I pay 1 ore, I pay 1 QIC, it switched over to the other player, and now my credits are down to 18, 7, and I don't have any QIC left any longer. I'm going to skip past this yellow faction, so let me just pass and come back to the red faction. So let's say we're back to the red faction. Now they want to build another mine. They take the leftmost mine and they drop it on the space that they want to build. Suppose they wanted to build on this planet now. It's adjacent, so it meets their range requirement. They don't have to spend any extra QICs, but they are going to have to pay extra ore to terraform this. Orange for red involves 1 terraforming, so they're going to have to pay 2 money, 1 ore, and 3 extra ore in order to build a mine on this planet. So, if I take this mine and I drop it on this planet, my program reminds me it's going to cost me 2 credits and 1 ore for the mine and 3 additional ore for the terraforming step in order to build a mine on that orange planet. If I say yes, I pay the credits, I pay the money, and now I've got a mine on that planet. And, as you can see, my ore income is going to be much higher in the next round. It's now bumped all the way up to 4 ore, which is reflected by this little box down here. Okay, that's the first action, building a mine. When you build a mine, it means you're colonizing a world. You're taking ownership of a planet. You have to meet the range requirement. The planet has to be within range. Everybody starts off with a basic range of 1. They might improve that range over time if they move up on the navigation track and maybe get to range 2 or range 3 or maybe even range 4 later on in the game. But everybody starts off with range 1. They can always spend a QIC if they have 1 to extend that by 2 additional spaces. And then the other thing you have to consider aside from range is you've got to either pay no terraforming steps as long as you're building on a planet that's your color, or you may have to pay the terraforming cost depending upon whether you're paying for 1 step or 2 steps of terraforming or 3 steps of terraforming. depending upon the color of the planet. And the cost of each terraforming step comes from this track. Everybody starts off at 3 ore per terraforming step. If you move all the way up to here, it's only going to be 2 ore, and so forth. You meet all those requirements. If you have all the necessary resources, you pay them, you build the mine, you're in good shape. The second action is upgrading. When you upgrade a structure, you're removing it from the map and you're replacing it by another structure. So let's say I'm back at the red player here, and I want to upgrade one of my mines to a trading station. I'm going to take a trading station and replace a mine on the board with that trading station. And in this case, it's going to cost me 6 credits and 2 ore to build that trading station, to upgrade to that trading station. Why 6 credits and 2 ore? Remember, I said if you're within 2 spaces of an opposing structure, you get to pay the cheaper price. So the mine comes back to my player board, and I remove a trading station from my player board and put it on that same space. So that's called the upgrade action. Mines get upgraded to trading stations get upgraded to either research labs or Planetary Institute, and research labs later on can get upgraded to academies. There's one other thing you need to know about building mines or upgrading mines to or any other kind of structure on a planet. If you're within 2 spaces of a neighboring opposing structure, another player structure, and you're within that same 2-space range that I was talking about relative to upgrading to a trading station, that opposing player is then able to possibly spend some VP to charge some power. How do they know how much VP to spend and how much power to charge? They look at the highest valued structure they have that's within 2 spaces of where you built or where you upgraded. Say that I was going to upgrade this particular mine to a trading station. The yellow player has a structure that's within 2 spaces of that mine, so they would be able to charge power. Now, what you're able to charge is the power value of your highest valued structure. The power value of every structure is pretty much the level of the structure on your player board. Mines have a power value of 1. Trading stations and research labs have a power value of 2. It's reflected by these 2, if I go to a large, you can see that there's 2 little purple dots underneath these structures. That shows you that these structures have an inherent power value of 2. Mines have an inherent power value of 1, and Planetary Institutes and Academies have an inherent power value of 3. The opposing player would look for their highest valued structure that's within 2 spaces of where the other player built a mine or they upgraded a structure, and they get to charge that much power. And they have to pay 1 less VP than the amount of power they're charging. Now, it's an all-or-nothing thing. If I had a trading station, now this one's isolated, but if I happen to have a trading station that was within 2 spaces of an opposing structure, and that opponent of mine happened to do something like build a mine or upgrade a structure there, then with my trading station, that has a power value of 2. I would get to charge 2 power, but I'd have to pay 1 less in victory points. I'd have to pay 1 victory point in order to charge 2 power. I don't get to choose. I either pay 1 victory point to charge 2 power, or I pay nothing and don't charge any power. So it's always an all-or-nothing thing. Now, there are 2 exceptions. In this particular case, I had to pay 1 victory point to charge 2 power. But let's say I didn't have any victory points. Well, then I could pay 0 victory points to charge 1 power, because you're always paying in victory points 1 less than the power that you're charging. So that's one exception of the rule if you don't have enough victory points. The other exception to the rule is if you're limited by how much power you can charge. If I had 0 power tokens in Area 1 and only 1 power token in Area 2, the most I could charge would be that 1 power token. For that, I don't have to pay any victory points. Most of the time, you're going to have victory points because everybody starts off with 10, just so that you can get some of that charging ability right off the bat. And most players start off with a lot of power tokens in areas 1 and 2, so they're able to charge. If I, say, upgraded this mine to a trading station, it's only going to cost me 3 money and 2 ore, which I don't have. I only have 1 ore, so I'm going to cheat and give myself some additional ore. And now, if red upgrades this mine to a trading station, there was that flashing little circle that showed us that yellow just charged 1 power, and they didn't have to pay any victory points for it. Okay, let's take a look at what the other possible actions are. One other possible action you can take is to advance on a research track by 1 space. To do that, you have to pay 4 knowledge. I get to choose which track I want to advance on. Now I'm red. Maybe I want to advance to level 2 of this track because I'm already at level 1. Or maybe I want to advance on this track in order to possibly get to this level and improve my terraforming cost and reduce it to 2. Maybe I want to go up on this track, eventually get to level 2 and increase my range to 2 from its measly range of 1 where it is now. Whatever the case may be, you pick the track you want to advance 1 level in. Let's say it was this one. You pay 4 knowledge and you advance 1 level on that track. So I just advanced from level 1 to level 2. I paid 4 knowledge, and now my knowledge is down from 5 to 1. The 4th action you can take is to take a special power or QIC action. Those actions are shown on the research board down at the bottom here. There's a bunch of power actions you can take, and there are 3 special QIC actions you can take. In the case of those, you have to pay a number of QICs in order to take that action. And in the case of the power actions, you have to spend a certain amount of power to take that action. These actions are limited to once per round for all players. So once a player takes any particular action, they cover that action space up with a marker that shows that nobody else in that round can take that action again. For example, if somebody is in desperate need of ore and they have some power they can spend, now I don't have any power I can spend, but again, I'm going to cheat here and say that over time I was able to charge all this power and get a bunch of power over into area 3, and now, lo and behold, I have 5 power in area 3. Let's say I wanted to take this action and get 2 extra ore. So if I click on this space, 4 power tokens go from this area to this area. So now I used to have 5, but now it's down to 1, and 4 of those tokens move down to area 1, but my ore just bumped up from 2 to 4. That's an action. Another action I can take is to take a special action. Special actions are actions that have an orange octagon. There's one here that gets revealed if and when I place this academy on the board and the space is revealed. In this particular case, these work just like these special actions. You cover them up with a marker because you can only take them once per round, and you get whatever the special action says you get. In this case, if this happened to be revealed, I can put a marker on this space, take 1 QIC, but then I wouldn't be able to do it for the rest of the round until next round when the markers are removed, and now I can take that special action again. You'll find some of these special actions on your faction board, for example. You might find them on round boosters. Here's a round booster that gives you a special action that would immediately let you build a mine on a planet that's at a range 3 more spaces away than you would otherwise be able to build. So this is sort of like get a 3-space extension on your range 1 time per round. You cover it up with a token, you build a mine on a remote space, and then you cover up this round booster's orange octagon with an action marker so you know you can't do it again. There are tech tiles that also have those. Let's take a look at the research board. You'll see here's one that allows you to charge 4 power once per round. Here's an advanced tech tile that gives you 3 ore once per round. That's pretty nice. That's why you see it on an advanced tech tile. Okay. Now we get to some of the trickier actions you can take. One is a Gaia project. Before I talk about Gaia projects, let me talk about Gaia Planets. Gaia Planets are not one of the 7 colors. They're these green colored planets that are all over the place. When you want to colonize or build a mine on a Gaia planet, it has to be within range. You pay a special cost of 1 QIC, a green QIC, to colonize a green Gaia planet. Red has a mine and a trading station here. They have a Gaia planet here that's 2 spaces away from them. Their range is only 1, so in order to build on this Gaia planet, number 1, they have to spend a QIC to extend their range. So I'm going to cheat and give them an extra QIC so they're able to extend their range. But in order to colonize a green planet, you've got to pay a green QIC for that too. So I'm going to cheat and give them a second QIC. If they've got the 2 credits and the 1 ore to build a mine, then they take one of their mines, they plop it onto that green Gaia planet, and they pay 2 credits and 1 ore in this particular case for the mine. They pay 1 QIC to extend their range by up to 2 additional spaces, in this case by 1 additional space, and they spend 1 QIC in order to terraform or colonize that Gaia planet. If they meet all those conditions, they get to build the mine on that Gaia planet. Oh, and lo and behold, because it's 2 spaces away from yellow's mine over here, they got to charge 1 power at 0 victory point cost, because their mine has a power value of 1, and you always pay 1 less in victory points when you're charging. So charging 1 power doesn't cost them any victory points. If they did have to spend victory points, I will give you a rule of thumb, and that is that if you have power to charge, it's usually a pretty good idea to spend those victory points to charge that power. It usually pays off in the long run. Now, we were talking about the Gaia Project action. In order to take the Gaia Project action, you have to have a Gaiaformer. Those are used to Gaia form a purple planet. Purple planets are not one of the 7 standard colors. Just like the green Gaia planet, purple planets, which happen to be called trans-dim planets because they're trans-dimensional, don't ask me why, but in order to build on a purple planet, you first have to Gaiaform it. To Gaiaform it, you have to have a Gaiaformer. Nobody starts in the game with any Gaiaformers. In order to get a Gaiaformer, you have to move up at least 1 space on the Gaiaforming track. Let's mess around a little bit and give them 1 more level on the Gaiaforming track. Now they're up to here, they get a Gaiaformer, and it's reflected by the fact that they now have 1 Gaiaformer sitting over here. You can have as many as 3 Gaiaformers at most, because you can get one at this level. When you get to this level, you get your 2nd Gaiaformer, and when you get to this level, you get your 3rd Gaiaformer. And there's a cost to Gaiaforming a planet. Generally speaking, when you're down at this level, you have to move 6 power tokens to the Gaiaforming area, which is this green area over here on your faction board. You get them back at the beginning of the next round. So, Let's see if we can sort of fudge this a little bit. I cheated and moved the red faction up one level, so now they have a Gaiaformer, and we have to find a trans-dim planet that's within range. They have a mine here and a trans-dim planet that's adjacent. It's within range. So how do they Gaiaform this? They take one of their Gaiaformers, they plop it on that purple planet, but there's a cost. They have to move 6 power tokens to the Gaia area. If they're all the way up here, they only have to move 4 power tokens. Here, they have to only move 3 power tokens to the Gaia area. In our case, we have to move 6. Well, I have 4, 5, 6 power tokens. That's all my power tokens. So all of them are going to have to get moved over here in order to Gaiaform. I would take this Gaiaformer, plop it over here. All my power tokens went over into my green area, but now I got to put a Gaiaformer on that planet. It's now my planet. It doesn't count as owning a structure on a planet. It does count as ownership, so nobody else can take it away from me, but I don't really own that planet until I build a mine on it. And I can't build a mine on it until the Gaiaforming action is completed. And that only gets completed in the Gaia phase of the following round. In the following round, there's the income phase first, and then during the Gaia phase, any place where there's a Gaiaformer sitting on a trans-dim planet that's purple gets a Gaia planet token placed under it. Looks just like these. So that shows that you've now converted that purple planet into a green Gaia planet. And now you can colonize it. Now you can mine it. So in that next phase, not only do you put a green Gaia token on the purple planet where you have your Gaiaformer, but you also get your power tokens back. But remember, this happens after the income phase. So let's move on to round 2. I'm just going to go ahead and pass here. Pick a new round booster for player 1. And now we move into round 2, and lots of stuff is happening because of the income phase. And the trans-dim planet containing Larry's Gaiaformer has been converted to a Gaia planet. So now you can see underneath this Gaiaformer, there is a green Gaia planet. The Gaiaformer is still there. The only way I'm going to get that Gaiaformer back is if I build a mine on that planet. It's my planet, but I can't use it as a jumping off point to consider this planet, for example, as being 2 spaces away as far as range is concerned. This orange planet is still 3 spaces away from one of my existing structures. I don't get to count the Gaiaformer as a structure for counting range. It happens to be yellow's turn right now. I'm going to say they're going to pass and pick a round booster. Now it's my turn. I finally want to build a mine here. In order to build a mine where there's a Gaiaformer, you just pay for the mine. You don't have to pay the QIC that you'd normally have to pay in order to terraform a Gaia planet. You've already paid enough. So let's say I wanted to build a mine where I have this Gaiaformer. I'd take one of my mines. I'm only going to have to pay 2 credits and 1 ore, the usual cost for a mine. I don't have to pay anything else to terraform that planet. Now I've got a mine on a green Gaia planet. Looks like any other mine on a green Gaia planet. And I've gotten my terraformer back, so I get to use it again if I possibly want to Gaiaform another purple planet. Lastly, on your turn, you can form a federation. Forming a federation is how you get a federation token. You may recall that I said you need to have a federation token on its green side in order to take one of these advanced tech tiles, and you have to be on level 4 or level 5. And to get to level 5, you also have to have a federation token on its green side. You get those federation tokens when you form a federation. You form a federation when you've got planets that are sort of near each other, and you've got a total power value among those planets of 7. If I want to form a federation with these planets, I don't meet the requirements. I have to have a power value of 7. Right now I've got 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's upgrade one of these mines to a trading station. Okay, I'll pay the 6 credits and 2 ore. Now I've got 2 plus 2 plus 1 plus 1, total of 6 power value. Let's do it again. Let's take this trading station, upgrade this mine. Because I did that, the yellow player got to charge 1 power for free because of their mine that's within 2 spaces. Now I've got the 7 power I need in order to form a federation right here. In my program, I click Form Federation, and I identify the 7 value worth of structures that I'm using to form a federation. This one, which is 2. This one, which is 2. That gets me up to 4. This one, which is 1. That gets me up to 5. And this one, this trading station, which has a power value of 2, that gets me up to 7. Not only that, I have to make sure they're either adjacent or they're connected with the fewest number of satellites. All I need to do is place 1 satellite here to connect this structure to these 3, which are already connected because they're adjacent to one another. In order to place that satellite, I have to discard 1 of my power. So I put a satellite there, I lose 1 of my power, I drop down from 6 to 5. But now I have a satellite. All 3 of these planets are connected, and I can now complete the formation of my federation by choosing a federation token. Green side up, and there's always a good supply of these federation tokens, usually 3 each in a normal 2, 3, or 4 player game. There might be 1 less available if you're playing against the Automa. I pick one of these federation tokens. There's one over here that doesn't have a green side at all because it gives you 12 points, but it's not any value to you if you want to get to level 5 or to take an advanced tech tile. Let's say I decided to take this one. This gives me 8 points immediately, and it gives me a QIC immediately. And of course, I've got the federation token green side up. Now I've got my federation token green side up. If I wanted to, over time, I could advance to level 4 of a track and either take an advanced tech tile, assuming I built one of the necessary structures, or if I did one of the special actions that allows me to take a tech tile, this one right here that costs 4 QICs. Let's say over time I'm paying knowledge. Let's say I simply want to advance to level 5. As long as I have a federation token green side up, I flip it and I advance to level 5. So I moved up to level 5. I flipped my federation token, so now it's gray side up, indicated by this F that's next to it. I don't have any more federation tokens, so if I wanted to get to level 5 on another track, or possibly take an advanced tech tile, I'd have to form more federations over time. So forming federations is another key part of the game. The last action I can take is the pass action. We've already seen that. Passing simply involves returning your round booster and getting another round booster in its place. You can't take the same one. You've got to choose a different round booster. Overall, in summary, I should point out that there are 6 rounds in the game. I think I mentioned that earlier. Every round has a special round scoring tile associated with it. We've already artificially moved into round 2, so that's why this particular round scoring tile has been removed. But this round scoring tile says that in round 2, anytime you gain a federation token by forming a federation, and by the way, we just did, you get to score 5 additional points. And you probably didn't notice, but I scored 5 additional points. I also got additional points probably from building and upgrading when I was messing around earlier. I also got some additional points, 8 to speak of, when I took this federation token And remember, I started off with 10. But I did get 5 because I met the conditions of this round scoring tile. In round 3, anytime you take a terraforming step, whether you get it for free or you pay the ore or whatever the case may be, you get to score 2 additional points for every terraforming step. Over here in round 4, every time you upgrade to a trading station, you're going to get 4 additional points. In round 5, every time you build a mine on a Gaia planet, you're going to score an additional 4 points. And in round 6, anytime you upgrade to a Planetary Institute or an Academy, you're going to score 5 additional points. So all of these round scoring tiles, there's 10 of them in the game, I think. They're all randomly drawn and distributed on these 6 spaces, so you never know which 6 you're going to be playing with and in what order they're going to appear. Lastly, there are also 2 endgame scoring tiles. There are a total of 5 of those tiles in the game. 2 of them are drawn at random and placed in these 2 spaces, and these tell you what you're trying to achieve at the end of the game in order to score 18 points if you're in first place, or 12 points if you're in second place, or 6 points if you're in third place. This particular game-ending scoring tile says if you colonize the most different planet types, remember there are 7 different colors, and there's also the green Gaia planet. If you happen to colonize the most different number of planet types at the end of the game, you'd score 18 points. This one says that if you have the most number of sector tiles, with at least 1 structure per tile, you're going to score an additional 18 points at the end of the game. What are the sector tiles? Where, remember, each one of these is a special sector tile. So right now, as say the red player occupies 1, 2, 3 sector tiles, and yellow happens to occupy 1, 2, 3 sector tiles as well. And that's what this ranking track is used for. Oh, red seems to be on 4 sector tiles. I miscounted. Here, here, here. Oh, and down here. 1, 2, 3, 4 sector tiles that they occupy. And so this ranking track is used to keep track of where you stand as far as these end game scoring tiles are concerned. It can be a pain in the neck to keep these up to date because nothing specifically tells you to move these tokens. You just have to move them to, and you have to remember that, okay, every time I get onto a new sector, I have to move this to show everybody that I'm 1 more ahead. A lot of players don't bother doing this. Maybe they do it later in the game once they get into rounds 5 and 6. Just so everybody knows where they all stand as far as these endgame scoring tiles are concerned. If you're not using these tracks, then you simply have to count. I'm playing against yellow. How many sectors do they occupy? Or how many different planet types do they have structures on? And how many do I have structures on to see who's ahead? Pretty much that covers it. My tutorial of all those rules isn't going to gel in your brain until you actually see it at work. So what I suggest you do is stick around. I'm going to play a sample 2-player game against the Automa player. You're going to be able to see what it's like to play a game of the Gaia Project. I hope you enjoyed this slow tutorial. Stick around. In a second, we're going to start our sample 2-player game against the Automa. Thanks, everybody. Okay, welcome back. So we're going to play a 2-player game against the solo Automa player of the Gaia Project. I will explain what I'm thinking of as I'm playing so you can kind of get a rough idea of what playing the game is like. I am not going to be trying to get a good score or play smartly. On the contrary, I am going to keep this moving along so it doesn't drag on too long. Furthermore, I want to cover a broad array of different actions you might take during a game. Again, not because they're particularly smart, just because I want to let you see how as much of the game plays as possible. Don't watch this to get a an idea of how to play well, just watch this to take everything I just talked about during the tutorial and see how it applies during a typical game. And at the same time, you'll find out how the solo variant works. It actually is quite elegant. So first of all, we have to pick some factions. So let's just go with random and see what the computer chooses for us. Okay, this is fine. We're going to be the Terrans. You could call it the Earth-like people, but we like the blue world. And we're going to be playing against the Geodens. The solo Automa player will be playing the Geodens. You'll notice that a bunch of these factions have asterisks next to them. Those tend to be the easier factions, so it's just as well that we're going to be playing the Terrans. The solo Automa player has one faction it plays for every one of the possible 7 colors. So the Geodens are orange and we're blue. Now I can play with the easy setup as described in the rules in the rule book. It kind of shows you how to lay out the tiles for your first game and that sort of thing, and who to play against and who you should be playing. Yeah, why don't we just live dangerously and see what happens? So we'll just go with a random setup and let's go from there. So when you're playing solo, you are always the starting player. You get 10 points. The Automa player gets 10 points. The rules do say that if you want, and if you're a beginner, you can set the Automa score to 0 at the start. Actually, why don't we do that, since we're not going to be trying to play too smartly here anyway. Okay, so as you can see, we're still dealing with tiles 1, 2, 3, 4, and then outline 5, 6, and 7. But they have been scrambled up, they've been rotated. When you lay out the board like this, the only rule you have to follow is that you have to make sure that you never have 2 planets side by side adjacent that are the same color. So my program ensures that that isn't the case. And now, as the start player, we get to choose where we want to place our first mine. And then the Automa will place their first mine, and then the Automa will place their second mine, and then we'll place our second mine. And then, starting with the Automa, they'll pick a round booster. When the Automa picks their initial round booster, they just pick it at random. You can also draw an Automa card, and there's a technique you can use to choose randomly that way. For all intents and purposes, they basically choose randomly. However, they don't choose randomly when they place their initial mines on a planet. They basically place them on their home planets that are closest to the center of the board. So we know going in here that when the Automa places their orange planet, their orange mines, they're definitely going to put one right here because it's virtually dead center. And what's this one? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. These are a toss-up, so it might choose one of these randomly. This one is way up there on the edge of the galaxy, so this one is not up for contention. So it's probably going to pick one of these 2 as its second mine. Not sure which. Now we're blue. So what are our possibilities? We want to be relatively close to where the Automa is going to be, because we want to be able to charge power when they build structures. Now, you can't charge power during the initial placement. All those rules sort of are set aside. Let's see. So this is sort of in the middle, kind of in the middle of things. Unfortunately, it is not 2 spaces away from either one of these structures. So we're not going to initially be charging power, at least not until the Automa player starts expanding or we start expanding. A couple other things we should keep in mind. It costs us 1 step to occupy a white or red planet. Now this one is close to a brown swampy planet. Unfortunately, that's 3 steps of terraforming for us. That's pretty expensive. On the other hand, it is 3 spaces away from another blue planet, which would be free for us to occupy. The other blue planet is way down here. Now over here, we've got a blue planet that is adjacent to a yellow and a red. Red is 1 step of terraforming. Yellow is 3 steps of terraforming with brown. So this is a possibility. This red planet is a possibility. If we start here, white is easy for us to terraform. Maybe we could get over here somehow. So I'm thinking maybe these two, just because this one is close to this one, and this one is close to a red and a white, both of which are 1 step for us. I think that's the way we're going to go. So we'll put our first planet here, and we know that the Automa is going to go here and either there or there. So our first mine is going there, the Automa goes in the center, and they go down south. So for our second mine, I think we'll go over here. Although there's something to be said for going over here, because we're a little bit closer to this mine. We've got a Gaia planet. We start with a QIC, and we start on the Gaiaformer track, so we have a Gaiaformer available to us if we want to convert some purple planets into Gaia planets. Now, I'm not even considering the round scoring tile or the endgame scoring tiles yet. We'll get to that. So do we want to come down here? Maybe that is a better bet. Yellow's 3 steps, but we got a transdim, and a Gaia planet here, and gray is 2 steps of terraforming. Okay, we'll just let's keep this sort of brief. So let's just go to this other blue planet down south. Try to stay close to the Automa player, who, of course, as you can see, is playing orange. Okay, so the Automa player randomly randomly chooses a round booster. Remember, you start with 1 round booster for each player, so that's 2. You add 3 more round boosters, and those are the 5 in a 2-player game. Those are the 5 round boosters you're going to be working with for the entire game. Now we have to decide, what do we want our initial round booster to be? And for that, let's look at a couple things here. So we've got 3 ore as our initial income. 1, 2, 3. We have no money income. We have 1 knowledge income. And we do start with a QIC, which will help us as far as range is concerned. And as I mentioned, we do start 1 step up on the Gaiaforming track. Let's see what the endgame scoring tiles are here. So we are whoever built the most satellites, and whoever colonizes the most Gaia planets. Okay, so it looks like Gaia is going to be one of the things that we are definitely going to specialize in, especially since the Terrans know how to Gaiaform. Unfortunately, that will use up a lot of our power tokens, so we're not going to be able to do too many power actions as a result. The current round scoring tile is score 3 VP when you upgrade to a trading station. Okay, so we can keep that in mind. And let's see what's happening on the research board. So we start 1 step up here on the Gaiaforming track, and orange, the Automa, is starting 1 step up on the Terraforming track. Not that that really matters. It just wants to try to get up the tracks, because I didn't talk about endgame scoring in the tutorial, but endgame scoring boils down to 3 things. 1, how did you do as far as the endgame scoring tiles were concerned? 2, you get 4 points for every level you're on a track that's above level 2. So if you're on level 3 of a track, you get 4 points. If you're on level 4 of a track, you're going to get 4 plus 4, or 8 points. If you're on level 5 of a track, you'll get 4 plus 4 plus 4, or 12 points for that track. So you're going to add up all the levels you're at above 2 on all the tracks, and the Automa player will do that as well. The Automa does not keep track of any sorts of resources, so at the end of the game, we take whatever leftover resources we have, divide by 3, round down, and we get a couple extra points for whatever resources we have left over. Okay, so the question is, what round booster do we want? Well, 1 ore would be nice. This says that when we pass and return the round booster back to the center of the display, we'll get 2 points for every trading post we build, which kind of aligns with the current round booster. So maybe we should focus on upgrading initially, if we wanted to just worry about points. So we have upgrading to trading stations, and we have Gaia Planets. All right, so for round boosting, maybe we'll go with this one. It'll give us an additional ore. As I said, ore is always a rarity. This gives you 1 free step of terraforming once per round and 2 extra dollars. But I think I'm going to go with the ore. Charging power isn't going to really help us, especially if we decide to Gaiaform. We should also know going in what our special abilities are. So our faction special ability is that during the Gaia phase, move the power tokens in your Gaia area to area 2 of your power cycle instead of area 1. Normally, after you Gaiaform, your power tokens come back to area 1. Ours come back in the Gaia phase of the following round to area 2, which is a nice little benefit to have. Secondly, if and when we place or upgrade to our Planetary Institute, the special ability we'll have then is that during the Gaia phase, when you move power tokens from your Gaia area 2, as just described, you may gain resources as if you were spending that much power to take free actions. Remember, there are all these free actions you can take to convert currency. So it's saying, for example, if you moved 4 power from this area to area 2, you could gain an ore and a credit, because as you see, it takes spending up 3 power to get an ore, and it costs 1 power to get a credit. So 3 plus 1 is 4 power. That gets us an ore and gets us a credit. So that's a nice benefit to have, but I'm not necessarily rushing to build my Planetary Institute based on that. It'd be nice to look ahead and just see what we got coming up in future rounds. So in round 2, we score 5 points whenever we gain a Federation token. Usually you get those by forming a Federation, which is going to be tough to do by round 2, so I'm not sure how applicable this is. We get 2 points for building a mine in round 3, 5 points for upgrading to a Planetary Institute or Academy. So that may be when we want to make the move to the Planetary Institute. Actually, here's a duplicate. I guess, as I recall, there are 2 tiles that are the same, and these are the 2 tiles that are the same. So we have the same round scoring ability in both rounds 4 and 5, and then back in round 6, once again upgrading to a trading station, but this time for 4 points as opposed to 3 points. Okay, so nothing earth-shattering there. It's going to be tough to beat the Automa player as far as placing satellites is concerned. We can only place satellites when we're forming federations. It places satellites every time it builds a mine. So unless we build unless we place the planets that form our federations far apart so that we have to build a lot of satellites, this is going to be a tough one for us to win on. Maybe we'll get second place. This one is our strength. This one we're geared to do because of our Gaiaforming ability. It'd be nice to also look at the Automa's ability, but I'm not going to concern myself with that right now. So to make this story short, let's just go with 2 points every time for every trading post that we've upgraded to, and that'll be collected at the end of the round. And then we'll also add one more ore to our income. So we'll take that round booster, which is immediately going to bump our ore up to 8, because we've got 4 ore, we get 3 from standard income, and then we've got an additional ore here from this round booster. Okay, so we do the income phase, which the computer does very quickly. As I mentioned, we have no money income, so we start with 15, and that's what we have. We got to 8 ore because we started with 4. We got 3 here from income and 1 from our round boosters income. We started with 3 knowledge, and we got a knowledge income here from the research lab area, and we do start with 1 QIC. But remember, it does take a QIC in order to colonize a Gaia planet directly. However, if you Gaiaform, all you have to do is set aside the power tokens. So initially, I'm going to be looking at Gaiaforming this purple world over here. And as far as up here is concerned, we could spend the QIC to extend our range to get over to this blue planet, and then sort of start focusing on these Gaia planets possibly. So I think that's sort of what I'm thinking about right now. So for our first action, why don't we do Gaiaforming? So that involves taking our Gaiaformer, dropping it on a transdim planet, and setting aside the cost of what it costs to Gaiaform a planet. And as you recall, the initial cost of doing that is to set aside 6 of your power tokens and place them in the Gaia area of your power cycle area. So that means 6 of these tokens, 4 from area 1, 2 from area 2, are going to get set aside and stuck in here, so that we can't spend it, we can't charge it, we really can't do anything with it, at least not until next round. So let's get that out of the way. So let's take our Gaiaformer, drop it on this transdim planet. The 6 tokens get set aside. So the Automa here is playing the Geodens, and they have an ongoing ability that says, after colonizing a new planet type, the Automa gains an additional 2 victory points. Now, my program is going to handle that automatically, but we'll take note of that as we go along. But let's talk basically about how the Automa works, and I won't go into excruciating detail, but there are a set of 17 Automa cards, and 6 of those Automa cards have a green highlighted number at the bottom of them, just like these 2. There's a green number 4 and a green number 2. So 6 of the cards are highlighted in green. The other 11 cards you take separately, you shuffle them up to make an Automa draw deck. Then you take the other 6 that have the highlighted green number at the bottom. You take 1 new card from the draw deck, the one I just referred to. So now we have a deck of 7 cards. 6 with the green number and 1 from the draw deck without a green number. We shuffle those up, and that forms our starting Automa deck of 7 cards. Every time we start a new round, the Automa is going to take another card from the draw deck, add it to their deck, so their deck will grow over the course of the game. And the more their deck grows, the more actions they'll tend to take, which sort of mimics exactly what happens with a human player, in the sense that as they prosper, as they expand, and as they perhaps collect more income, they'll be able to do more and more things going forward. So that's what's happening with the Automa. To start, the Automa draws the top 2 cards of its 7-card deck. So now you can see up here, this shows how many cards are left in its deck. So there are 5 cards. And it looks like we're looking at 1 card here, but we're actually looking at 2. The left-hand card and the right-hand card, which are sort of placed adjacent to one another. So let's take a look at the cards separately. This is card number 4 over here. This is what it looks like. There is this side of the card, which is called the support column. And there's this side of the card, which is called the action side of the Automa card. So we're going to be focusing on the action side of the left-hand card and the support side of the right-hand card. And between those two, the left-hand side is going to tell us what action to perform. The right-hand side is going to give us some additional information that we need in order to narrow down what the Automa is going to do. The Automa can take one of 6 possible actions. There are 2 research advancing actions it could take, which are slightly different. There is a build a mine action, there is an upgrade action, there's a power quick action, in which case it sort of just steals one of these markers down here, one of these action spots, and keeps us from getting to it. And then lastly, there is the faction action, which I referred to earlier. When you're first learning how to play the solo, I recommend that you have a set of satellites standing by in a non-player color. So, for example, in this case, I'm playing blue, the Automa is playing orange, so you might take out the white satellites or something like that. You'll see why it's useful to use them when you're first learning how to play the Automa. But then as you get good at it, you're not going to need those satellites going forward. So, what is the Automa going to do first? Well, it's going to start by building a mine. This is the icon for build a mine. It's on the action side of the card. And now we have to think, what rules does the Automa use to determine where it builds a mine? Well, it goes through a set of possible tie-breaking conditions in order to narrow down which planets it might consider building on. First of all, we'll start with the range. As you can see from the support card, it's going to use a range of 2 spaces. So it's going to be looking at every possible world it could build a mine on that's within 2 spaces of one of its existing structure. So if you were playing with these white satellites, as I might suggest, you would go and you would highlight with a white satellite every world that is within 2 spaces of an Automa structure. So we have an Automa mine over here. It's saying Alex's mine. It probably should say Automa's mine, but that's fine. So what do we have within 2 spaces? We have this world, this world, this world, those 3. So we might put satellites on those 3. And then its other mine is down here, so we might put a satellite here, and here, and here, and here, and here. Every world that is within 2 spaces. Okay, now it has to start thinking about how it's going to tie break. So we go from the top down and take a look. First, it's going to tie break based on the lower of the 2 ending scoring tiles. If this were, as this is highlighted in green, it considers the bottom endgame scoring tile. If this were highlighted in green, it would consider the top endgame scoring tile. And if they were both X'd out, it would consider neither of them. In this case, it's considering the endgame scoring tile. It wants that to impact where it might build a mine. The endgame scoring tile on the bottom is colonize the most Gaia planet. So that's pretty much going to dictate where it's going to build, because the only Gaia planet that was within 2 spaces of one of its structures is this one, 1, 2. So we could stop. That's where it's going to build its mine. And every time it builds a mine, it places a satellite adjacent to that mine because of this endgame scoring tile as well. So that's how it's going to determine how many satellites it has. So here we go. I'm going to click OK, let the Automa do its thing. It's going to build a mine on this planet. And there it is. And now we get to charge 1 power because we're within 2 spaces of that Gaia planet. So it didn't cost us anything. Our mine has a power value of 1. So we charge 1 power. And remember, we always pay in VP 1 less than the amount of power we charge. So we don't pay anything just to get that 1 power charged. So now we have 1 power in Area 3 and 1 power in Area 2. But because we Gaiaformed and we have 6 of our power already set aside, there's not a whole lot we're going to be able to do with 2 power. But we'll see. So it's back to us. And now maybe we want to focus on upgrading to trading stations in order to take advantage of this part of our round booster and the current round scoring tile. This one takes effect immediately, and this one won't take effect until we pass and return our round booster. And, oh, by the way, I should note, let me go back to the Automa for a second. This part of the card on the action side tells us how many points it scores. So it's going to score 1 point. But as you can see, it scored 3 points. That's because of its special ability. Remember, after colonizing a new planet type, and it just colonized a Gaia planet, that's new, it's not been on a Gaia planet before, it gains an additional 2 points. So it scored those 2 plus this 1, and now it scores 3. Okay, back to us. We're going to be focusing on upgrading, and I think this is the first one we want to upgrade, so I am going to upgrade this mine to a trading station. That will score us 3 points thanks to the endgame scoring tile. I'm sorry, to the round scoring tile. So our score just went up from 10 to 13. Okay, now what happens? The card on the right is discarded. So that was card number 2. We're not going to see that card again for the remainder of this round as far as the Automa is concerned. So we know that there's 1 less chance for the Automa to perform an upgrade action, which is what this icon represents. There might be another card in there where it performs an upgrade, but there's a good chance we might not see it upgrade in this particular round. But what is it doing right now? Right now, it's going to be doing a power and quick action. That's what this icon means. So it's going to put a marker on one of these action spaces down here. Which one? Well, it looks at the condition set over here that tells it what to do. And it is going to count 4 spaces from the right. And it skips over any action markers that are already covered, but it's the beginning of the game, so none are covered. So it's basically going to put an action marker on the 4th action from the right. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's going to cover up this one that says spend 3 power to gain 2 new power tokens. That's fine with me. As you know, we don't have 3 power to spend anyway, so this is not anything we can do. We're not going to be able to do any of these actions this round. We don't have, we only have 2 power to our name right now. The other 6 is sort of tied up in the Gaia area. Okay, so let it do its thing. It's going to put an action marker here. This is just the bottom action marker track of the research board that I put on the main screen. Basically mimics what we see over here, just so I don't have to keep opening the research track every time I want to take a look at that track that's at the bottom. Okay, so it's back to us, and maybe we want to upgrade our other mine to a trading station as well, just to get those points. So let's do that. Let's take another trading station, drop it on top of this mine up here. We are not within 2 spaces of an opposing structure here. That is a possible problem because it means it's going to cost us 6 credits instead of 3 to build here. What the heck? That's fine. I'm not playing to win here. Let's just do it. Costs us 6 credits and 2 ore to upgrade to a trading station. We'll go ahead and spend all that, and now we got an additional 3 points, so our score is now up to 16, and we're back to the Automa. What's the Automa going to do now? This time it has drawn card number 1, which also has an upgrade ability on it. So in fact, it is going to go ahead and upgrade. And its first priority when upgrading is to upgrade a trading station to a Planetary Institute. It doesn't have any trading stations on the board yet. So its next priority is to upgrade a mine to a trading station. It does have 3 mines on the board, so it can very well consider doing that. So how does it narrow down which one to, which of its mines to upgrade? Well, it's going to go through its priority list. The first tiebreaker is the planet closest to one of our planets, to one of our structures. So this one is 2 spaces away from our mine, and this one is 3 spaces away from this mine. So it is going to upgrade this mine to a trading station. Pretty easy decision for it to make. It is also then going to score 1 point when it finishes, so its score is going to go up to 5. We got to charge some power there. We had a trading station that was worth 2, so normally we would have said, hey, do you want to charge 2 power and pay 1 victory point? But we only had 1 power to charge, because we only had 1 power token left in Area 2. So it charged that. It didn't cost us anything, because the cost of charging 1 because of this action is 0. So now it's back to us, and now maybe we need to think about taking this 4 knowledge and going up on a track. So let's take a look over here, and what track should we be considering? Well, remember, we got 1 QIC, which will help us to extend our range once, but that's about it. So either we should consider going up on this track to get more QICs, so we can do another build closer to the Automa structures, or we should try to go up on this track in order to also gain a QIC, but be 1 level away from getting our range increased to 2. And I think that's a much smarter move. So we're going to go ahead and advance on a track. It costs us 4 knowledge to do so, so there goes our 4 knowledge. And we'll go up on this track. This will gain us another QIC, and we'll be 1 level away from increasing our range to 2. Okay. It is the Automa's turn again. What's the Automa going to do this time? This time it is this icon means randomly go up its level on one of the research tracks. Which one? Well, we look down here. The one track that is 1 from the left. Skipping tracks that it can't possibly go up on. Well, right now it can go up on all tracks. So it's basically going to go up 1 more step on this terraforming track. Remember, it's already on level 1. This is going to take it to level 2. And there it goes. Back to us. So we have 6 credits and 4 ore. Should we consider a research lab which will increase our knowledge income and allow us to gain a tech tile, which is even the nicer of those choices? I think that probably is a good choice right now. So let's go ahead and upgrade one of our trading stations to a research lab. Does it matter which one? Probably not. Now, there is something to be said to upgrade to our Planetary Institute so we can get that ability Because remember, when those 6 tokens come back out of the Gaia area next round, if we had our Planetary Institute built, we'd be able to spend those 6 tokens as if we were getting resources. So that actually might be a better thing to do right now. Maybe we should just build our Planetary Institute, get that ability done and out of the way. It will blow all of our credit and all of our ore, because all we have is 6 and 4, and that's what it's going to cost us. But what the heck? Let's go ahead and do that. And it will also release this new ability whereby during the income phase, it will allow us to charge 4 power and also gain 1 power, gain or add 1 new power token. So, do we care which trading station we want to upgrade? Yes, we do, because this one currently is out of range. It's not 2 spaces away from a Automa structure. Therefore, if he does something here, like upgrade, or if he builds, and he's going to probably build more likely on this red planet because it's 1 terraforming step for him, we're not going to get any charging benefit. But if we upgrade this structure down here, we will get a charging benefit, because if he does something having to do with this mine on this Gaia planet. So I think that's where we're going to upgrade to our Planetary Institute. So I'll drop this down. We blow all of our credits, but now we have a Planetary Institute there. That will allow us to, if he does something within our vicinity, it will allow us to spend 2 victory points to charge 3 power. Now remember, that doesn't really help us because we can't charge any power right now. But I'm thinking ahead into next round when we might have power that we'll want to charge. Okay, so what is the Automa going to do this time? Well, this time it's going to perform its Automa action. So we ignore everything here and we take a look at its faction card to see what it's going to do. When it does its Automa action, it does 2 things as far as the Geodens are concerned. The Geodens first go up 1 space on a random track, again using this value over here to determine which one, and then it's going to do a random power and quick action also using this same value, 4 from the left, and then it's going to score 1 point. So it's not going to score a lot of points, but it's going to do 2 actions instead of 1. And it looks like it's going to go up 1 level on the 4th track from the left, and then it's going to take over this spot on the power and quick action track. So let's go ahead and let it do its thing. So it does go up 1 level on the 4th track, and now it does put an action marker on the 4th power and quick action down at the bottom there. So that's its thing. And back to us. So now we've got nothing left. We have no credits, no ore, no knowledge, and 2 quick to our name. We have 2 power. So maybe we should convert that power to resources, looking ahead to the next round. So remember, we built our Planetary Institute. We're going to be able to take advantage of our Planetary Institute ability, which lets us buy resources. We have a measly income of 1 ore at this point because we've returned all of our mines. So maybe, well, we only have 2 tokens, power tokens to spend. All we can do with 2 power tokens is get 2 credits. We're going to have 3 credits coming in. Should we maybe not spend any of that and wait until we get our tokens, power tokens back? I think that might be a better strategy. Let's not spend our power tokens. Let's just wait until next round when we've got more power to spend, and then maybe we'll take one of these actions over here. So I think it's time for us to pass. Since we're going to be passing first, we're going to get our choice of round booster tile. Now, unfortunately, because we upgraded to a Planetary Institute, we now only have 1 trading station on the board, so we're only going to get 2 points thanks to this round booster. But 2 points is 2 points, so I'll take it. So we're going to go ahead and pass. We got our 2 points, and now we choose a new round booster for the coming round. And none of them have any ore on them, which I really would have liked. So this says we charge 4 power, and we get 4 points for every Planetary Institute on the board. So this is a guaranteed 4 points. This gives us an additional 2 money and a free terraforming step. Would be smarter right now, because we have so little ore, and we don't have enough ore to pay for any kind of terraforming. So let's go with that route. Let's go with, this is a once per round action. It'll give us 2 income, and once per round we can get a free terraforming step and build a mine. Let's do that. Because remember, we have 2 quick now to extend our range. So I'll take that token. Now it's the Automa's turn. I should have pointed out that when you start looking at the last 3 cards of the Automa deck, if there is a red X up in this corner of the left-hand card, it means it should pass. Now, this one, the last action card it looked at was this card. It didn't have a red X, so it didn't pass. We're down to the last card in the deck right now. So this one didn't have a red X. This was the last card it looked at, which didn't have a red X, so that's why it hasn't passed yet. But now it's going to pass, because it sees a red X in this spot. So it's going to ignore everything on these cards, just going to dump everything, and it's going to get a new card from its draw deck, so its deck is going to increase to 8 cards for the next round. And it is also going to score some points based on the round scoring tile. How many points? It basically looks at the top left-hand corner of the card in rounds 1, 2, or 3. Now we're looking at the round scoring tile for round 2. Let's go ahead and see what the round scoring tile was for round 1. It had a 3 in the left-hand corner and a 6 in the right-hand corner. So that means during rounds 1, 2, or 3, it will score 3 points at the end of the round. In rounds 4, 5, and 6, it would have scored 6. But it's going to score 3 right now because it's passing. So it's going to get 3 points. It's going to jump up to 9, and then we'll basically end the round. It will pick a round booster, by the way, and the round booster that it chooses is based on which one of these 3 bars on the support card is highlighted. The third one is highlighted. That means when it draws a round booster, it's going to draw the 3rd round booster, this one on the right-hand side. Okay, so that's what the Automa is going to do. It's going to pass, score 3 points, and pick that 3rd round booster. And it's done its thing. We move into round 2, and now we collect our income during the income phase. Notice our tokens are still tied up here in the Gaia area. That won't get rectified until the next phase. But right now, we've got this ability to charge power, 4 power, and also gain 1 power, thanks to our Planetary Institute income ability here. And we also, remember, got this additional 2 credits thanks to our round booster. So our income of 3 plus 2 got us to 5 credits. Remember, we were at zip. Unfortunately, 1 ore kind of stinks, but I'm going to be rectifying that right away. So right now it's asking us, do you want to charge 4 power first and then add 1 power, or do you want to add 1 power and then charge 4 power? Clearly, we want to add power first, because right now we have nothing to charge. These bowls are both empty. These areas are both empty. So we want to add that 1 power and then charge it twice to get it into area 3. And then only then will we get our 6 power back from the Gaia area. So let's go ahead and gain 1 power first, and then charge it to get it all the way into area 3. And now the Gaia phase happens. These 6 tokens move over here And our Planetary Institute ability lets us gain resources as if you spent 6 power. So what resources do we want? We desperately need ore. So ore costs 3 power normally, and because we can spend as if we had 6 power to spend, I think I'm going to take 2 ore. So I'm just going to increase our ore by 2 for our special ability, and now we're done. And now it's my turn. Okay, so we've got 5 credits and 3 ore to work with. 1 measly amount of knowledge, which really doesn't help us much, and 2 QIC. We also have our Gaiaformer here is now on a Gaia planet. It's been converted, that purple planet has been converted into a green Gaia planet. So for us to take ownership of that, we need to build a mine on it. Current round scoring tile is every time you get a Federation token. We're not going to be getting a Federation token anytime soon, so we can ignore that. But remember, the end game scoring is going to be based on colonizing Gaia planets, so that building a mine here makes a lot of sense for us. This is in range. And normally it costs 1 QIC to colonize a Gaia planet, but when you Gaiaform, you've already paid for the terraforming. So you did that by setting aside all those power tokens, making them useless to you for 1 full round. So basically we can just put a mine on there at a cost of 2 credits and 1 ore, and we'll have colonized the Gaia planet. So let's do that as our first order of business. That means we'll also get our Gaiaformer back onto our player board, and now we turn it over to the Automa. Just if you want to take a quick peek at the scoring board, my program does keep the ranking track up to date. So right now, as far as the satellite endgame scoring tile is concerned, the Automa, remember, built 1 satellite when it built its mine over here on this Gaia planet, and we haven't built any satellites yet. And as far as colonizing on a Gaia world, each of us have done that once. Now, there is a neutral player when you're playing any 2-player game, two humans or human versus Automa, which gives you some competition toward getting the 1st place, 2nd place, or 3rd place on endgame scoring. It doesn't want you to just easily get 18 points just because you got 1 space on the ranking track. So in order to get those 18 points, we at least have to beat what the neutral player is set at. And by the way, the neutral player is set at the number that's shown in the bottom right-hand corner of these endgame scoring tiles. So this endgame scoring tile says set it to 8, and this round endgame scoring tile says set the number for the neutral player to 4. Okay, so we went ahead, we built our mine on a Gaia planet, and now it's the Automa's turn. And note, it now has 2 cards here, plus 6 cards in its deck, so it started with an 8-card deck instead of a 7-card deck. So now it has 6 green cards in its deck and 2 non-green cards in its deck. And for the first 2 in this round, we're seeing 1 green one on the left and 1 non-green one on the right. And it is going to perform an upgrade action. And remember, when it performs an upgrade action, its first priority is to upgrade something closest to one of our structures. And its first priority is to upgrade a trading station to a Planetary Institute. Well, lo and behold, here's this trading station that's 2 spaces away from one of our structures. It's going to go ahead and upgrade that to a Planetary Institute. And we get to charge 3 power by spending 2 victory points. And now we want to do it because we have our 6 power tokens in here that came from our Gaia area, and we do want to get that power charged and get it over here so we can work with it. So by all means, I will spend the VP in order to get in order to charge 3 power. Remember, this is an all or nothing thing. You either pay 2 victory points to charge 3, or you don't do it at all. So we get to charge 3 power, and now we got 6 power tokens to work with. And my eye is on this action down here, which allows us to get 2 additional ore. And the ore is a rarity for us, and I'm thinking of grabbing that before the Automa gets to it. I might have even thought about doing that first in my last turn, but fortunately the Automa didn't steal it from us. Now, by doing this, I'm sort of laying to waste these 3 power tokens over here, because it means if we spend 4, we'll be back to charging all of our power again before we can do much. We won't get these tokens into here until we get the 4 tokens that we are about to spend up into Area 2. So there is a downside to spending now. Should we gamble and hope, what are the odds that the Automa is going to do that, take that away from us? Maybe we should just wait at least one more turn and see if we can hold off. So what I'm thinking of doing is to expand and build a mine on a planet that's a little farther away from us. And the one I have in mind is this red planet over here that is 1 terraforming step for us. Remember, we have this special action we could take advantage of once per round to get 1 free terraforming step. So that would basically negate the terraforming cost of colonizing a red planet. We would have to spend 1 QIC to extend our range from 1 to 3. Remember, for every QIC you spend, you get an extra 2 spaces on range. Then that's going to put us next to a gray planet, which is 2 planetary steps, 2 terraforming steps, but it will also put us 2 spaces away from another transdim, and a yellow planet that's 1 terraforming. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm looking in the wrong place. Yeah, gray is 2 terraforming steps, yellow is 3 terraforming steps, white is 1 terraforming step. So maybe from here I maybe consider spending my next QIC to go over here, or maybe I go down here to this white planet. But I think let's go ahead and try that. So let's spend a QIC to put a mine on this red planet. It will cost us 2 credits and 1 ore, and we're going to get our free terraforming by clicking on this round booster. So let's click that, take the special action that gives us 1 free terraforming step, and now we get to build the mine with that 1 free step. It will cost us a QIC to extend our range. So let's take a mine, drop it on this red planet, and now we're going to be within the neighboring space of this red world here. So if it does something in this vicinity over here, now we'll get some charging ability off of it. This is going to cost us 2 credits and ore in the QIC, but we're going to go ahead and do that. And now it's the Automa's turn, and it is going to perform another upgrade action, and it is going to upgrade. It can't upgrade a trading station to a planetary institute anymore. It's already got its planetary institute on the board. It can upgrade a mine to a trading station, so it's going to consider all the structures, all the mines that are within the shortest distance from one of our structures. So this one is now 2 spaces away from this structure, and this one is 3 spaces away from this structure. So it's going to upgrade this mine to a trading station. We get to charge power. We charge 1 power for a mine. That doesn't cost us any VP. So one of our power tokens went made its way back into into Area 3. I keep calling them bowls because that's what they were called in Terra Mystica. But now we've got a little more power to work with than we did before. Should we just grab the ore? Well, right now we don't even have enough credits to consider even consider building a mine. And the next planet I have my eye on is this blue one over here or this blue one over here, both of which don't have a terraforming cost, but we would have to spend our last QIC. Neither of these are in range of any Automa structures, so there's no immediate. Maybe we should delay doing that. Of course, we can't build a mine right now anyway because we don't have enough credits to pay for it. We could spend 4. We could take this action and spend 4 power to get 7 credits. Now that our ore income is a little bit more reasonable, that would allow us to at least build 1 more mine before our round ends. And we're close to ending our round because there's not a whole lot we can do. But there goes our last QIC. Now what else? This does put us next to a red planet, which is 1 terraforming step. Puts us next to a yellow planet, which is not particularly helpful. This one puts us next to a trans-dim planet that we could consider Gaiaforming. Let's get the credits first, and then we'll worry about what we're gonna do with them later. So let's get our 7 credits. So we spent 4 power token that went from power tokens that went from area 3 to area 1. And now we're back to the Automa, who is going to do another upgrade action. So again, they're looking at a mine to upgrade to a trading station. So here's a mine that is, I'm sorry, they are red. Here's a mine, where's a mine? Here's a mine that is their only mine. It's the only one they could upgrade to a trading station. So that's the one they're going to upgrade. Okay, and it scores 3 points. So it scores up to 14. It scores, the Automa scores on a sort of regular basis here and there. We kind of score in spurts. And we'll score more toward the end of the game than we will in the beginning of the game. But again, we're not focusing on scoring so much, so that's kind of moot anyhow. Okay, so it's back to us. Should we spend the QICs, and if we do, the QIC, and if we do, which direction should we go in? Should we go here so we can Gaiaform, or should we go here because we're next to 1 planet that is 1 step of terraforming for us? Probably because we're not going to have enough resources to do anything in this round anyhow. Maybe we should go in this direction so that we can at least start the Gaiaforming process again. Might as well take advantage of that Gaiaformer. So let's build a mine on this planet over here. This will cost us 2 credits, 1 ore, and a QIC to extend our range. Okay, back to the Automa. So the Automa has 3 cards left in its deck. It is not going to consider passing yet. So right now it's going to build a mine. And it's going to build a mine that's within 2 spaces of one of its structures. So it is going to be considering to build here, and here, and here, and here, and here, those 5 locations. And then it's going to narrow down. Is it going to consider the end game scoring tower? Yes. This one has to do with the top one, has to do with building the most satellites. Well, that doesn't really help it narrow down where it's going to build its mine, because it's going to build a satellite no matter where it builds a mine. So that doesn't help. So then its next priority for tie-breaking purposes is the planet that is the fewest terraforming steps. So of all those choices that we just looked at, this one, well, let's just take a look at its terraforming steps. So there are no orange planets for it to consider, so that we can rule out, because that's no terraforming. Otherwise, it's looking at yellow, red, and green as far as its one step of terraforming. So, it is orange, so here it is. No yellow, red, green, no yellow, red, green. There's a yellow. So that's where it's going to build its mine. And we get to charge, again, this is our Planetary Institute, so we can spend 2 VP to charge 3 power. That means 3 of these 4 are going to move into Area 2. Again, I will choose to do that. Back to us. It just built the mine. It also placed a satellite. And what do we want to do? So now we have no ore remaining, but we can Gaiaform. We can put a Gaiaformer on here. But before we do that, remember we always have this ability to discard 1 token from Area 2 to move 1 token from Area 2 to Area 3, which that's as a free action. Then we'd have 4 power to spend to get this 2 ore. I'd like to be able to get a tech tile, which means upgrading this trading station to a research lab next turn, and that costs us 5 credits and 3 ore. We'll have that, but it'd blow everything we have. Sure, let's go ahead and do that. Might as well see this in action. So this action lets us discard 1 from Area 2 to move 1 from Area 2 to Area 3. It's a free action, so I'm going to click on that. We lose 1 power, so our 5 drops down to 4, and then 1 of that power gets moved into Area 3. So now we have 4 to spend, and I think I'm going to do it by doing this action over here that gets us 2 more ore. Okay, now that we've got our power tokens out of Area 3, now I'm okay. I'm a little more comfortable with the idea of Gaiaforming. Because I certainly don't want to move tokens out of Area 3 before I spend them. Okay, so now it's down to one of its 3 last cards. And there is no X up here, so it's not going to pass. It's going to do its faction action, which does a random advance on a research track, the 4th from the right in this case, and then it highlights the 4th power action from the right, this one over here. So let it do its thing. 4th track from the right is that, and the 4th power token from the right is that. So now it's back to us. Now we will Gaiaform. So we'll take our Gaiaformer, and it's going to take 6 of our power tokens, 5 out of here and 1 out of here, and set them aside in the green Gaia area again. But let's go over here. Start Gaiaforming that planet, which will be completed in the next round, in the Gaia phase. Okay, it is not going to pass. There's no red X here, so it is going to go up 1 space on a random track, 2 from the right. There it goes. So it's advancing pretty steadily, and of course we're not advancing at all, but I'm hoping to advance at least 1 more level next round when we upgrade to our research lab. Okay, so we have 6 credits and 2 ore, no QICs, so that's not enough to build a mine, because this costs us 2 terraforming steps. That's 6. Oh, that's an awful lot of ore that we don't have. We don't have enough knowledge. Really, there's nothing more we can do, so I think we're just going to pass and move this game along. So we get our first dibs on the round boosters. So this says 4 credits, and this will give us an ore and a knowledge. Boy, we can really use the knowledge. Our 1 income is going to boost our knowledge to 2. This would get our knowledge up to 3. And then we might, if we have the power tokens, we could also consider as a free action converting 4 of them into knowledge so that we can upgrade that way as well. Yeah, I think I'm going to grab this one so we can get an extra ore and an extra knowledge in the next round. Okay, back to the Automa. This time it is going to pass. There's a red X up here, so it ignores the rest of the card. And it is going to score 4 points based on this round scoring tile here. Wait a minute, is it showing us the next round or this round? It's probably showing us next round. Yeah, this one is the current. It will score 0 points when it passes. That's not bad. So that will keep the score at 18 to 14 with the Automa in the lead. And it takes the third, it didn't take a look at the support card that time, but it took the 3rd round booster. And here we are again with the choice to charge power or add power, and which order. So I think, again, because we have so little power here to work with, we want to add that power first and then charge for power. That would move these 2 here and the one that's here, here, and here. So we'll get all of our power into Area 3 thanks to this action. So gain 1 power first, then charge 4. And that gets everything into Area 3. Which is not a lot, but okay, so we got our 6 power tokens back from the Gaia area. We got, and we could once again get to spend that 6 power as if it were resources, again, thanks to our Planetary Institute ability. So now we have 9 credits and 6 ore. I know I'd like to get a research lab, which is 5 and 3, so that gets me down to 4 and 3. Maybe I want to split it between, or we could go for a knowledge. That's one way to get a knowledge. That would get our knowledge up to 4, so we can go up 2 levels or go up levels on 2 tracks. Once when we upgrade to our research lab, when we get a tech tile, which automatically gives us an advance, and then, yeah, okay, so I'm going to spend 4 of the 6 on a knowledge. And then with the other 2, I guess I'll get 2 credits. So 1 increase in knowledge, 2 increases in credits as my ability, and then we'll go from there. Okay, back to me. So now we have 4 knowledge. I guess I should upgrade to let me upgrade to the research lab first. We only have 1 place we can upgrade a research lab, which is right here. Unfortunately, it's not within range of a structure, so we won't, of a opposing Automa structure, so we won't get a benefit of charging from it. We could consider upgrading this to a trading station first, and then upgrade that to a research lab. We certainly have enough credits and ore to do that. Maybe that's a better bet. Yeah, let's do that. Let's, because losing 1 more mine back to our player board doesn't affect our ore income anyway, and this would increase our credit income, at least for the time being, until I upgrade to a research lab at the very least. Let's upgrade this mine to a trading station. It is within 2 spaces of an Automa structure, so it's only going to cost us 3 credits and 2 ore. Okay, so now they have 9 cards to work with. These 2 plus 7 in its deck. It's going to do another upgrade action. It loves upgrading. It has a trading station. It has a mine down here. So its first priority is going to upgrade to upgrade this mine to a trading station. As a result, we're going to be able to charge some of our power, which we really want to be able to do, because now we have all this power from our Gaia area dumped into area 2. And remember, we also now have this Gaiaformer over here. We want to consider building a mine over there if we can. And I think we'll have enough left over to do that. So back to the Automa, it will upgrade this mine to a trading station, and then we're going to be able to charge power. Yes, I will spend 2 VP to charge 3 power. Back to us. So now this is looking much nicer up here. And boy, at the rate it's upgrading, maybe I'll get even more power charged. So, should I build a mine or should I build a research lab over here? It's really a toss-up whether we build the mine first. What's our round scoring tile here? So we get 2 additional points every time we build a mine. Well, we're definitely going to get 2 points here building a mine. Let's go ahead and let's get our tech tile first. So let's go ahead and upgrade this trading station to a research lab. And now we get to choose a tech tile and advance on a research track. Remember, if we choose one of these, we advance on that track. If we choose one of these, we can advance on any track. I have my eye on advancing on this track so we can get our range extended to 2 spaces from 1. So that means I'm either looking at taking this tech tile, which would immediately give us a quick and an ore, which is nothing to scoff at, or one of these. Now this would increase the value of our Planetary Institute from 3 to 4. This will give us 4 more money as income, and this will give us an extra money and extra knowledge as income. I think I'm going to take the ore and the quick, because this is the track I want to advance in anyway. So I'm going to grab this tech tile. That's going to advance me to level 2, and my range will be 2. And then that will open up some more possibilities for us. Okay, up the Automa. This time, this is a new one. The Automa is going to advance on the research track currently on which it's highest. But it is, I don't think there's any tie for it to break. It's on level 2 of track 1. So it's going to advance to level 3 of track 1. And it's back to us. So we've got 3 credits and 2 ore, and a quick. Thanks to that tech tile, I think it's time to build here. Get another Gaia world colonized, which will help us on endgame scoring, and we'll also score 2 points thanks to this round scoring tile. So let us build another mine. It doesn't help us as far as ore income is concerned, but it gets us 1 step closer to forming a federation. Okay. It's just going to highlight the 3rd power quick action from the left. It is going to steal the 2 ore. If we wanted to consider it, it's now nothing we can consider at this point, because it is stolen by the Automa. And you can see that the Automa continues to accrue a couple points every time it takes an action based on the number of points shown on its action card. So I think it just scored another point. 1 credit and 1 ore isn't much to work with. We've got 6 power tokens in Area 3. That is something to work with. We have 4 knowledge now, so maybe we just spend that to advance on the research track. Let's see what, if we were going to do that. Well, oh, there's our power charge right there. If we advance 1 more space, we get a quick, and we charge 3 power. That's an easy one for us to choose. So we're going to spend our 4 knowledge to advance on a track. We're going to advance on this track again, charge 3 power, get another quick. Oh, and now we're all ready to rock and roll in our next turn. This turn, he is going to advance on a track 5 from the right, and also do a power quick action 5 from the right. It's going to steal this one. That's okay, because this is the one I have my eye on. So let the Automa do its thing. It's then going to score 1 point. Back to us. All right. There's a chance it might steal this trans-dim planet from us. That would not be good. That wouldn't be good at all, because then we're kind of blocked off completely. If we were going to build a mine, that would be 2 terraforming steps. It's going to try to build close to us. This is 3 terraforming steps. This is 2 terraforming steps, and it's closer to one of our structures. Okay, so it's more likely to build here than it is to build here. So I think we're safe at the moment. With 9 power, I could spend 4 to get 7 credits. Well, I could always do 4 and 4 to get 7 credits and 2 knowledge, which would still be enough to get me. All right, let's grab the 7 credits for now and just see what happens. It's going to do an upgrade, which means it's not going to occupy a new planet at the moment. It can't upgrade to a planetary institute. It cannot upgrade to a mine anywhere because it has no mine. So next it considers upgrading to a research lab, and it wants to upgrade a structure that is close to us. So that would be this one. Well, either this one, which is 2 spaces away, or this one, which is 2 spaces away. So then it breaks the tie based on this part of the support card, which says if you have to break a tie, start from the bottom right-hand corner and move to the left and upward. So if it was going to upgrade a trading station close to me, it would be this one before this one. That's okay. Again, that's going to allow me to charge power. Interestingly, it will allow me to charge some of the power I just spent and get it into Area 2. Okay, go ahead and do it. Do your thing. So now I'm tempted to say no, don't charge the power if I'm going to just Gaiaform with it. Yeah, I think since I'm just going to end up probably Gaiaforming to get into this trans-dim planet, that means I'm just shuffling all my power tokens into the Gaia area, so there's really no benefit to charging any of this power. So I'm going to decline. So now I can spend, of the 5 tokens I have left, I can spend 4 of them to grab 2 knowledge, so I'll be ready to get another advance on a track next round. And it is going to upgrade again. Jesus. So what's left for it to upgrade? I guess this trading station is next, going to a research lab. Oh, it's passing because it has a red X in the corner. and it was down to one of its last 3 cards. So thank you, computer, for remembering to do that. When you're playing manually using your game board pieces, the instructions tell you to take the bottom 3 cards of the deck and place them perpendicularly to the rest of the Automa deck to remind you that when you're down to the bottom 3 cards, to remind you to check to see if the Automa is passing. I'll go ahead and get my Gaiaformer on this planet now that my range is 2, so I can get that before the computer or the Automa tries to steal it from me. I do not have to worry about it going after gray planets at the moment because that's 3 terraforming steps for it. I don't think it's going to go near that anytime soon. So I guess it's time to pass. Yeah, I guess we're done. Of course, the Automa passed first, so it gets to be the start player now. We're going to be able to get some more resources when we get these 6 tokens back into Area 2. So, yeah, we're going to pass. So, one free terraforming step might come in handy if I want to get into this gray planet or this red planet. Not having to pay for the terraforming. So that is something I'm interested in. Of course, I'm always interested in getting more ore. For every colonized Gaia planet, score 1 point. I think this is more enticing to me coming up. So let's grab this one again. Going into round 4, of course, the Automa scored whatever points were in the top left-hand corner of that last round scoring tile. Do I want to gain 1 power first and then charge 4? Well, charging 4 would get these 2 to here to here. If I gain the power first, then I would only get these 3 tokens to here and then 1 to here. I think I want to charge first and then gain. And this OK button shouldn't be coming up because this is the choice I have to make. So I'm just going to charge. I have to fix that. That's a bug. I'm going to charge 4 and then get 1 added. Then I get that converted into a Gaia planet, and my 6 tokens come back, and I get to spend those as if they were resources. And I think my temptation is to get ore, 2 ore. 3 power tokens gets 1 ore, and I have 6 to spend. So I think I'm going to go for 2 ore. So the Automa is going to do its faction action first, which advances on the 4th track from the right, and then steals the 4th power quick action from the right. 4th track, 4th action. You don't have to worry about this planet getting eaten up. Should we start by forming our federation? Or should we wait on that until we get some of this power charge, get it over here so we can spend it, and then, because remember, we're going to have to build we wanted to build a mine here to get ready for our federation. That's right, we're not quite ready for a federation. We wanted to build a mine here. And do it with 1 free terraforming step from here. And what do we get? Every time we upgrade to a Planetary Institute, which we've already done, or an Academy, we get 5 points. Boy, an Academy would just eat up all of our ore, and that would be the end of that. it would give us an additional, either an additional 2 knowledge per, that's nothing to scoff at, or the ability to get a quick at a moment's notice. Wow. See, these are the decisions you're faced with. If we upgraded this research lab to an academy, then we could just form our federation with that, because then we'd have an academy here worth 3. This is worth 2. That's 5, 6, 7. That's what we need for a federation. But that would be the end of all of our ore. Unless we could stall and hope to charge power so that we could get this power action again to get 2 ore that way. 5 points is 5 points. What would I take? Would I take the 2 knowledge? Our income is 2, so I'm getting another 2 knowledge every round would let me advance 1 more level on a track every round, guaranteed. And I can advance 1 this round too. Sure, let's do it. You haven't seen an academy yet? Hey, why not? Let's spring for it. So we're upgrading a research. Oh, we upgrade this research lab to an academy just to correct the situation. This income drops to 1 knowledge. So then our income will go from 2 knowledge income to 3 knowledge income, because one of these is going to get covered up again. Just to correct that. That makes it a little less interesting now. Maybe getting a free quick every round is something to consider. Because once you have 4 quick, you can spend that on getting a tech tile and an advance on a track, which is pretty nice to be able to do. Let's build the academy, so let's go with this one. Of course, 4 power tokens could get us our 4th knowledge, so we could turn 3 knowledge into 4. Getting this extra quick. We're done getting extra quick on this track. Which one? Which one? 2 knowledge is 2 knowledge. And there's always round boosters that give us an extra knowledge if we can get our hands on this one. If the Automa doesn't steal it from us. Yeah, I guess I'll go for the knowledge. 2 birds in hand as opposed to 1 in the bush. How's that? Yeah. Okay, so let's take this academy, upgrade this research lab, blow all of our ore, and now we get to choose a tech tile. So we can't take this one again because we've already taken it. So we can't, remember, you can't have more than 1. So if we want to advance to level 4 here, get our range up to 3, it means we have to take one of these 3. 4 income or a knowledge in a so there's another way to get our knowledge income that we want, to get this 3 income up to 4. Boy, that's, I think I'm going to go that route. Yeah, let's grab that tech tile, which lets us advance in any track of our choice. And I think it's going to be this one. We might as well keep moving on this track. Okay. So now we're up on level 4. That's a guaranteed 8 points right there. And what are you doing? Just a power quick action, 2 from the right. You're stealing that. Good. I have no complaints. Okay, I think it's time to form a federation. Yeah, let's just go ahead and do that. So it's this building, this one, and this one gets us up to 7 power. And now we have to place satellites to connect them. So these two are connected because they're adjacent. You can't build any more satellites than you really need. Now the question is, if I want to consider forming another federation, I don't want to have a satellite. I don't want to interfere with these planets or these planets, or I have to interfere with one or the other. I have to place a satellite here or here. Where would I be less likely to expand? This is brown and yellow, which are 3 terraforming steps. This is 1 terraforming step, and that's 2. So that's 3, 6, that's 9 terraforming steps. Gaia Planet, 1 terraforming step, 1 terraforming step. Okay, it's easy. If I were going to expand, I would be expanding up in this direction. So that means the satellite's going to go down here, because it doesn't mean I have to worry about messing around down here with any of these planets and affecting what I could use for a federation. So I am going to place the satellite here, and here, and here, and here. So there go my 4 power tokens, but I've connected everything together so I can continue, and now I get a choice of federation tokens. And you can bet that my I goes right here first because I need ore more than anything else. This is 7 points and 2 ore and a green side up federation token that I can use to get to level 5 or to get an advanced tech tile. I think that's a pretty easy decision. Unless I want to consider a quick charging 2 power. Getting 2 knowledge is always appealing. Of course, I don't want this one because it doesn't have a green side, and I can't use it to get to level 5. I think ore is always more valuable to me than anything else, so I'm going to go for 7 points and 2 ore and a green side up federation token. Okay. Automa's turn. It's going to do an upgrade. I mean, I can just let the computer do it at this point. Do you need me to analyze? Do you like, I mean, if you want to guess where it's going to upgrade, you can always pause and just decide ahead of time. Do that as a little quiz. Do I want to spend 2 VP to charge 3 power? Oh boy, do I want to. Yeah, I want that 3 power over there. Surely. Okay. Ooh. Now this just opens up some interesting possibilities. So we have knowledge to advance. Or to get and we have a federation token. If we want to advance and use that to get to level 5, or lots of possibilities here. I can also consider, I have these power tokens, I can grab these 2 terraforming steps for free and build a mine on this gray planet and get that under my ownership. Not that I have to worry about the Automa stealing it anytime soon, because it is 3 terraforming steps for it, so it's less likely to go there. But that would give me 2 free terraforming steps. I wouldn't have to pay for the terraforming. I'd only have to pay for the mine. And then I could still have the mine I need to, what I need to build a mine here. And what are we getting? Okay, so I've got 10 points coming from this tile because I have one Academy and one Planetary Institute on the board. So let's grab a mine and get a mine on there. So let's spend, unless I want to spend these power tokens for something better. I mean, where else would I go? I mean, I could go up this way for another Gaiaforming. And I can go over here for a Gaiaforming. That might be a better choice. I don't want to colonize this planet because it's going to corrupt, it's going to mess up my plans for another federation, because I don't want to be connected to this federation. Let's get a mine here and just grab that. Oh yeah, right. I wanted to spend the power token, so that means I have to do this action first. Get 2 free terraforming steps. Now build a mine on that gray titanium planet. But there it goes. Okay. Automa, you're going up 1 more level on your terraforming track. I think that's 4 more points for you. Yep. I guess I could get this mine out of the way. I'm not getting points for building mines, of course, but it's another ore income next round. That's always good. Then I get my Gaiaformer back, of course. Automa, you are upgrading again. I don't know what you're going to do. Just do it. Creating station to a research lab. And I just charged 1 power. There's not a whole lot I can do with that 1 power up there. Do I want to bother Gaiaforming again? If I were to Gaiaform, I'd head up this in this direction, I think. Or both of these are not likely going to be places where the Automa is going to be coming near me anytime soon. What's my range currently? 3. And spending a quick to go all the way over here is probably not a grand idea. Although this one is closer to a planet. This is close. Here's a white that is 1 terraforming step for me. Here's a red that's 1 terraforming step for me. How are we doing on scoring, by the way? Okay, I do need more Gaia worlds. Yeah, I think I am going to terraform. I'm going to scoot all the way over here, I think. Because these planets are more, although this one is closer to more Gaia planets. More Gaia planets is better chance of endgame scoring. Yeah, that one makes more sense, and I don't have to spend a quick to get there. So let's get our Gaiaformer working on that planet. Okay, you are upgrading on your highest track, so you're going to level 5 on your terraforming track. Oh, no, you don't. When it has a choice, it takes the advanced tech tile before it advances to level 5 when it's on level 4. So that's why it did that. And so now I've got my 4 knowledge. I guess I want to advance, use my Federation token. And I think I'm more interested in going to level 5. 3 points for every research lab, which are zip right now. But the Lost Planet is very interesting. I think I'm going to go with the Lost Planet. So I'm just going to go to level 5. That flips this token to its gray side. And click an empty space now within range 4 for the Lost Planet. So that means, I guess I'm looking up in here, because that's where my next Federation is going to be. So it probably, the best possible place is right here in the Lost Planet. Of course, if I, yeah, it's fine. I'll put it right here. It doesn't get me, if I put it here, it limits me to 1 satellite. But I think I'm well ahead on satellites at the moment, at least, aren't I? 4 to 2. Still not anywhere near close to the neutral player's 8. That might make it more interesting to put the Lost Planet here, because then I'd have to build 2 satellites to connect 4 planets here. Although I'm less apt to, I think I'm going this direction. Let's see if I get these 2 Gaia planets. This gray one is 2 terraforming steps, but this one's only 1 terraforming step. I think I'll stick it here. Then I'm putting a satellite here, here, and here. 3 satellites. That's probably a better bet. I'm going to put the Lost Planet here. Or I could put it here. I'll just put it there. Okay, so there's the Lost Planet with one of my mines on it. And what are you doing? You're down to the last 3 cards. You're not passing. You're doing your faction action instead, which is a random track, 3rd from the left, and 3rd power quick action from the left, which is this one. Every time he gets up into those levels, he's scoring points. Okay, am I down to doing nothing? I've got no power tokens, I've got no ore, got no knowledge. So I will go ahead and pass before the Automa passes. And I've got plenty of ore coming in at the moment. 1 point for every Gaia planet I'm on, and I am planning to be on a lot of Gaia planets. And 4 extra money, maybe this is my more interesting tile at the moment. Yeah, let's do that. You are passing, Automa, and you're taking the 3rd booster. Going into round 5, do I want to charge or gain? Clearly I want to gain, so I have something to charge. So I'm basically going to gain 1 token and then charge 2 of my 4 to get it up there. So gain 1 token first, then charge it all the way up to area 3, then get my 6 back after I convert to a Gaia planet, which was up here. And now I get to spend my 6 resources again. So, what do I want? I want another quick. So I can consider this action sometime down the road. It's another way to get a tech tile. That would be 1 quick and 2 credits. to spend that 6. Or do I go for the ore? If I go for the ore, yeah, I think I want the ore. I'm just going to get 2 ore. I always want ore. Because I have a lot of building I want to do. I want to get on here. I want to get on here. I have at this point, I really, although I'm also interested in getting another academy built because of this. Wait, is that the current round scoring tile? I guess it is. It is. I want the ore. Did I take it? No, I have not. So I am taking 2 ore and continuing. And now it's my turn. And I think I'm going mine building. I think that's really what's on my... unless I want to build... I don't have any research labs. Would I consider... I'd have to upgrade to a trading station. I don't really want to mess with this one. It's part of the Federation already. So advancing that isn't really going to do me much good. Let's go mine building first. So let's start with this Gaia planet here. Okay. Automa is power quick 4 from the left. You're taking the credits. And you're steadily increasing in points. And okay, so this is where my next federation is going to be. Or this is where my next federation is going to be. So what am I looking at here? 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm 1 step away. I really should get one of these. I'm 1 step away from a federation down here. I really should focus on that. Let's get one of these up to a trading post. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I just need a trading post to finish the deed. You are upgrading. Go ahead and do your thing. I'm not even going to think about it. Research lab. Charge power. Yes, I will charge 2 power for my trading station. And now I think I form a federation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's only 1 satellite, but and what do I want? Now here you could take the same federation token over. You're not restricted on which federation tokens you take. So what do I want? Everything's interesting. Of course, it's round 5. There's not a lot of time left. I think 6 credits might be where I want to go right now. 6 credits will get me to 12 and 4. I'm looking at building lots of mines, which is 2, and a trading station. I'm going to need the credits for the trading station. It's way out in no man's land. I think I want the credits. Okay. So I did get 7 points, right? Yeah, I did indeed. Okay. Faction action. 2 from the left. You're stealing this. And second track. Going up 1 level on the second track. It's scoring a point. Okay, mine, right? I'm certainly ahead on that scoring track. Yeah, this one will put me ahead. And that's pretty much guaranteed for me to get first place on that track. So mine's going up there. Oh, this is a quick. I have to pay the quick to colonize the Gaia planet. I guess I'm happy I didn't spend those quicks. So yes, I will do that. Automa, you are power quick 2 from the right. Fine with me. Okay. I guess I could cement that, or maybe I should upgrade a trading station. Upgrade to a trading station. And it's biting the bullet because there goes 6 credits and 2 ore, which leaves me enough to build a mine. Okay, trading station. As much as I don't want to do that, I will. Automa, you're upgrading. Trading station to a research lab. And I get to charge 3 power, which I will do. And now I should think about spending this 6 power before any more time goes away. I think I'm done Gaiaforming at this point. I don't really need to do that any longer. How would I spend this 6? Well, if I wanted to form another federation up here, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'd have to upgrade another trading station, or maybe I'm better off going the research lab route. Ooh. Research lab scores. No, it doesn't. That's Academies and Planetary Institutes. Can't afford that anyway at the moment. I guess we should just build our mine here and cement that. I don't really need to. Let's see. If I wanted to make a federation here, well, that's not a satellite. Where am I on satellites? 2 shy. I really need to colonize this planet. So I could spend 3 terraforming steps here, 3 power tokens here to get a free terraforming step to colonize this planet. Then I'm talking about some more satellites. That would get me over the edge. I'm running out of time to do that, so I don't know if I can make it happen, but let's go ahead and do that. Let's take that action, get a free terraforming step. Let's build a mine on this white planet over here. The Automa is upgrading again. What, it can't upgrade? because it's got an academy and a planetary institute, and it can't upgrade. It actually, when the Automa can't do anything, it doesn't do anything. It can't upgrade. It has no more academies. It's got nothing more to upgrade. So it finally upgraded itself out of the picture. Okay, so now we need to focus on getting this federation built. So we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Next round I could upgrade. I don't know, upgrading that doesn't help me. We're probably looking at upgrading one of these to a trading station, and we'll have enough money in order to do it. So I don't really think I need another mine at this point. Is it worth it to me to spend these 3 power tokens on anything? Do I want 2 more power tokens? I don't really need them. It would slow down my charging. I don't think I need to spend them right now. I think maybe I'm better off just passing. I think I will. I'll take the initiative. That way I can be the starting player. And my round booster. Foreign knowledge, 2 points for every trading station I have on the board. I will be upgrading another trading station to another trading station in preparation for a satellite, possibly 2 more trading stations, because that would be 2, 4, 6, 7. No, yeah. This is a trading station, so 2, 4, 6, 7, and that would get me to my next federation. So an ore as income and 2 points for trading stations. Yeah, I guess that makes the most sense. Maybe not. Who knows? You are not ready to pass, Automa. You are doing your faction action again. 3rd track from the right and 3rd action space from the right, skipping this one. 1, 2, 3. Automa, now you're passing. Taking the 3rd from the left. Going into round 6. And we all scored, he scored 6 points for, I think he scored 6. Not sure. Maybe probably looking at the wrong token at this point. The wrong, yeah, no, I think he did score 6. What did I score? I was passing, scoring for round, scoring tile. He scored 5. So the previous tile, I guess. I don't remember. Anyway, do I want to charge power or gain power first? I want to. If I charge 4, I get 1 over here. If I gain first, I want to charge first. Okie dokie. 14 credits and 7 ore. Getting ready for our next federation. That means a trading post, an expensive trading post again, out in the wild. But I don't have a choice. It's my last trading post. And we get points for trading posts this round? I thought the last one was mines. No, it is trading posts. So trading posts, here we come. That's the 16 points right there for 4 trading posts on the board. Six credits, I know. I'm not happy about it. So there's 4 points for that trading station. Oh, this is 4 points for every new trading station that you build. Sorry, I may have misspoke there. So that was 4 points just for building that. You are upgrading again, which you can't do. So you're skipping your turn again. But you are going to, I think you still score a point. You didn't even, no, you score. You didn't score. That's a good question. If the Automa can't fulfill its card, does it even score points? I kind of think it does. That's probably a bug. I kind of think it does score points regardless. It should have scored 1 point, and it didn't. That's 2 points it didn't get, in case the score turns out to be close. Okay, I've got 2, 4, 5, 6. Oh, I'm out of trading posts. So I've got to upgrade to a research lab. I don't think I want to upgrade any of these. Well, I don't have enough to upgrade to an academy. But I do have enough. 5 and 3. 11. Oh, shoot, I don't have enough credits to get me to, I need credits, which means I may need to grab this before the computer gets it. Because if I want to upgrade to a research lab and then upgrade to another trading station over here, that's costing me 5, 6, 11 credits. I only have 8. I really need the credits, and I think I should grab this right away. It's interesting, I need credits more than ore at the moment. I have enough ore, 3 and 2. So let's grab the credits. I think, hopefully my calculations are correct. Automa is going 2 from the left to get a power quick action. Okay, time for me to do a research lab. I mean, I could upgrade this one. It doesn't really matter. I just need to get a trading post back so I can upgrade this to a trading post. Does it matter? Well, here I'm more at, no, the trading posts and research labs are the same power value. Let's just upgrade this one. And because I got a research lab, I can get a tech tile. I could get this tech tile now if I want it, which is 3 points for that research lab. That's the last research lab I'm building. I don't have anything enough to build another one. So do I want 3 points, or can I do better? 2 points for every... Well, I can't get another advanced tech tile. I'm not on level 4 or 5 of another track. So is there another standard tech tile that would be of value? Get an ore and a quick. Get 3 points for every time I build a mine on a Gaia planet. I'm kind of done doing that. Maybe I just want 7 points. Doesn't really get me anywhere. What does that get me? 3 more power tokens. Another quick. Kind of wish I was on more tracks. I do have knowledge here that would help me get up a track. Where would I want to climb? I kind of think I'm done climbing here. If I get 3 climbs, that gets me to level 3 on one of these other tracks. This would get me 4 quicks. Then I could seriously consider doing this to get another tech tile. I think this is where I want to go. This would get me, oh yeah, income doesn't do me any good at this point. We're in round 6. And this one gets me ore, which allows me to build. I'm looking at getting, I only get 2 ore. 4 quicks and 3 power charge. Yeah. Okay, I'm just going to, so do I grab this one or one of these? This one is 3 points for every time I build a mine on a Gaia planet. I'm done doing that. Income does me no good. This actually would save me the trouble. No, that does me no good. And this one, again, income does me no good. And so this gets me an ore and a quick. Oh, but that's not what I want. Every time, it's this track that I want. Oh, shoot. I guess I would take this and then upgrade on this track. Or I could just take this and get that guaranteed 3 points and then upgrade on this track. Yeah, it's 3 points. Okay, so now what do I want to cover? Clearly, I can cover that. Actually, it doesn't matter because income does me no good and this is done, so I'll just cover that. Okay, so that's covered now with that advanced tech tile, which gets me 3 victory points for every one of my research labs. I only have 1, so that's just 3 research labs. What track do I want to go up on? This one, because I can use the quicks. Automa's turn. You're building a mine, finally. You haven't done that in a long time. Okay. Do I want to charge 3 power? It's pretty late at this point. Am I ever going to get enough power up here to make use of it? I don't know. This is a tough one. I'm tempted to say no, but I may end up regretting that if I get another couple chances to charge, and then I have some tokens that I could have spent for something. Oh, I think I'm going to say yes. I don't want to take a chance. That could cost me. Okay, let's think about our federation. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I need 1 more planet. This would be an easy choice. And building an academy is too expensive. 1, 2, 3. And can't build, I don't have the ore. I think I'm building a mine right here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It gets me 2 satellites. I need 3 satellites. Which means maybe I want to build down here. I do have range 4. I need a terraforming step, which I can't afford. I don't know the power tokens to get free terraforming. Yeah, let me spend the knowledge first. And then let's see what happens in the meantime. So let's go ahead and advance up this track again. Oh, and then I have 3 charge coming up here. Okay, so let's go up. Let's just spend the knowledge, advance. I'm up to 3 quick. Automa, you're doing your power. So you're advancing 4th track from the right and here to to this. That's fine. Okay, let me spend 4 more knowledge to get a charge of 3. Okay, now I can really use the Automa to upgrade and give me a charge. Yes. Upgrading this mine to a trading station, which lets me charge 3 power. Yes. Well, I guess that was a good decision. What do I do with 4 power? 5 quick. I can go here and get a tactile. And then advance on this track again, which gets me 2 more quick by taking this tactile, which gets me nothing. Or I could get this tactile, which doesn't really do anything for me. Every time I build a mine, get 3 points. I'm done. I think I'm done building mines. I think I am. I think I want to get this action and get a tactile. Two more quick, which could then let me score, rescore points for a Federation token here. Yeah, let's do this. Let's do this action. Hope I'm not blowing this. Let's go up on this track. Oh, choose a tactile, this one. Which doesn't really do anything. Now it's going to upgrade. And yes, I do want to charge 3 power. Oh, do I? Wow. This is opening up some interesting possibilities. What can I do with 7 power? I can get another quick. No, another quick doesn't help. But this quick, what does it score me? All the resources on one of my Federation tokens again. So I could get 7 points and 2 or 7 points and 6. I would want the 2 or. It's the best good way to spend quicks. I mean, I could use it to spend it on ore. Or I could use, maybe I should grab this first. What's it most likely to steal from me? This or this? What do I want? This is worth how many points to me? 7 points? Yeah. I better grab the points at this point in time. And that'll get me 2 more ore. So I'll get 7 points and 2 ore from that Federation token. So this action space spends 3 quick so that you can get the resources from a Federation token another time. Okay. What are you doing? You're upgrading on the first track from the left. What is that for you? That's this one. You're ready to go to level 5. That's 4 more points. I was thinking about spending this 7 power. 4 power to get 2 ore. 3 power to get me 1 ore. Then I'm interested. Then I have the possibility of getting another Academy, which will get me another quick, which really doesn't help me at this point. At that point, is there any benefit to getting another Academy at this point? Not really. What's my Federation status again? 2, 4, 5, 6. Maybe I should upgrade this to a trading station and get that 4 points. But I also need satellites, which one. Okay, but man, oh man, it's confusing. One. How many satellites? One here, one here. Which is not enough. I needed 3 satellites. Is there... Oh, maybe I should have used this for a terraforming step to get down here. Oh, I have the power. That's what I want to do. Get a free terraforming step, build down here. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then I have a lot of satellites. Oh yes, that's what we're doing. 1 free terraforming step, build a mine right here on this red planet. That's my free terraforming. Now I'm looking at a much nicer, okay, so now as long as he can hold off building mines, okay, I'm forming a federation. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 with 1, 2, 3, 4 satellites, which puts me well into the lead. Okay, so I'm forming a federation with this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. There's my 7, and I need a satellite here, here. Oh, I'm wasting power tokens. I need to spend these first. Mistake. Undo. Okay, I think I want to spend it on the ore. That's probably the best bet. Let's spend the power on the ore. Automa is upgrading. He's not passing yet. It's okay if he upgrades. It's points. Oh no, he took a tech tile. It's not points. Wow, 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 wow. Okay, so scoring board I'm good at. I'm good. I haven't formed my federation yet, but I will be good. Once I form my federation, I spent my power. Now I'm ready to form my federation. Structure. Structure. A lost planet. Structure. 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 There's my 7. Satellite. 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 Got to build the fewest number of satellites. And a satellite. That connects everything. Oof. Continue. Federation token. Ooh, I think I want money. Because I got plenty of ore. Now I need money. Because then I could be building trading posts. Oh, I only have 1 trading post. I'd have to build... I have to upgrade a trading post to, so that's 5 and 3. And 2 for a trading post. I don't know, but I do think I need more money than I need anything else, so I'm going to take this one. Automa, he's way ahead. I think where I'm gonna hope to make it up is right in here on winning both of these. Way ahead of him on endgame scoring tiles, and he is passing. So we got 6 points from this tile. Okay, So what's left for me to do? I've got 14 credits, 5 ore. I want as many trading stations as I can possibly get. I only have one to build. So let's definitely build that one right down here. That's 4 points. Okay. Getting a research lab would allow me to get another tech tile. I'm not sure there's a tech. I do have a token here. And, oh, he took that tech tile that I was possibly eligible for right here. I could take this tech tile and just grab 7 points. Okay. So let's upgrade to a research lab. There's no point in going to an academy. I don't have the ore to do it anyway. So trading post to a research. Oh, it does mean 4 less points. Wait, this is every time you build a trading station. Yeah, that's fine. But I do have this that gives me 2 points per trading station. So I'm stealing 2 points, but I'm gaining 7 by getting that tech tile. So it's better to build a research lab. So let's put it right there. We'll grab this one, I think, for 7 points. Is there anything better that I'm missing? 1 knowledge for every planet type I've colonized so far, which I think is about 5. That would have let me advance to level 5. But I think 7, but that's... Think about this. Choose a tech tile and advance. If I take this tech tile, I advance here. Doesn't do me any good. If I take this tech tile, I advance here, which is worth 4 points. Every time I build a mine, I'm done building mines. This is worth 7 points. I think this is the winner. Better to get 7 here than to get 4 from moving into the last space. Oh, this gets me 4 quicks. 4 quicks. The quick actions are gone. Quicks get me ore, which allows me to build mines. My mind is blown here. 7 points. What am I choosing between? Oh, yeah. Every time I build a mine, get 3 points. This will give me quick, which would allow me to get 4 ore and build a lot of mines. That's more points. That's where I'm going. Oh, really? I can grab this one and go up. Oh, but then... but do I have the tech tile? I still have a tech tile that says every time I build a mine? Or is it covered up? Build a mine on a Gaia Planet is what that is. So I'm deciding between 7 points outright or getting 4 quick, which will get me 4 ore, which would allow me to build possibly... I'd have to build 3 mines on Gaia Planets. I don't even know if there are enough Gaia Planets left. That's 3 mines. But it is 9 points as opposed to 7 if I could build on 3 Gaia Planets. 1 is there. My range is 4. 1, 2, 3. 1 is there. And 1 is there. I could do it. I think that's a better bet. Oh, except I'm spending the quick on the ore when then I don't have the quick. spending quick on ore, I would need to spend 2 quick on 2 ore. That allows me to build 2 mines on 2 Gaia planets. 2 more mines on 2 Gaia planets gets me 6 points as opposed to 7. I think this is where I gotta go. I just want to be sure I'm not miscalculating. This gets me 4 quick. Well, getting this lets me advance here. But that's 4 points. 4 points plus 6 points. That's 10 points. This is where I'm going. Okay, so I'm grabbing this guy, and I'm going up on this track, flipping that Federation token, getting 4 quick. That's 4 points just for going up on that track. I'm spending 2 of the quick to get ore, which is just enough to build 2 mines on 2 Gaia planets, which gets me 6 points from that. Ooh. 1 mine on 1 Gaia planet over here. So that was 4 points. And another mine on this Gaia planet over here. That's another 3 points, rather. Sorry. So that was 6 plus 4 for jumping up to level 5. So that was 10 points right there. That was a better choice. Wow, that's interesting. Okay. And now I think I'm done. I've got no power tokens. I'm ahead. I'm ahead on both tracks. I might squeak this out. I don't know. Remember, we did start him on 0, and possibly we stole 2 points from him because of that rule I wasn't sure of on if he can. So I think I'm done. There's nothing else for me to do, right? I have no quicks. I've got 2 credits. You can't spend credits. I have no power. You do get a point for every 3 resources. I only have 2 resources left. There is nothing else for me to do. So I'm passing, and now we get to do final scoring. So, endgame scoring, once again, 18 points for being in first place. So that's 36 points for me. But he is in third place. The Automa, or she, is in third place, so twice. So that's 12 points. So that's really only a net gain of 24 points for me, which gets me to 79. Then you get points for every research level you're on. That's 12, 24 for me. Oh, he's only getting 8. I'm pulling the victory out here. I'm pulling out a victory. And I don't even think it's close enough to consider it, you know, when you consider those 2 points that I stole from the Automa, if indeed I stole them. Yeah, let's just pass and... Oh, plus I got a lot of points for, God only knows, for all those, whatever, 127 to 108. It was a blowout. Even if I let him keep the 10 points, we won. So even if I give him the 2 points that I possibly stole and the 10 points that we took away at the beginning of the game, he'd be at 120. And we still would have won. So that was pretty good. Not a great, you know, it's not a great score, but considering that, considering I'm happy with the way this turned out. Anyway, I hope you got a lot out of this. I actually had fun. This was fun. And I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for watching. Post any comments or notes. I will go ahead and research that question. I think he does score, even if he can't upgrade. But I will research that. And otherwise, thanks, everybody. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye. And I hope you enjoy the Gaia Project. Bye-bye.